Okay, we're live. It's your girl, Nikki. We're here with the 2024 elections. So you said like it's going down.
Yep.
I don't know. This is going to be an interesting election. That's all I got to say. Very, very interesting.
It's a lot.
So how are you, Patrick?
It's been a good day. We'll see what happens with this whole election thing. I'll be honest with you. I'll be very surprised if the Republicans don't keep the House. The Senate's there's only a few. I think there was only a few seats up for Senate, but I know like it's a whole bunch of.
I think they gained the Senate seat. I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah, right now the only concern for me would have been Arizona. It would have been nice if Kari Lake picked up that seat, but I don't think she's going to.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Now, who do you think is going to win?
I'm hedging my bets on Trump, but there's a lot of variables in that. Like I said, a lot of the counties, particularly in western and in northeastern Pennsylvania, had a lot of voting issues. Friends of mine are saying there were some issues over in Philadelphia too, allegedly. So. It looks like Mark Robinson's behind North Carolina too.
Yeah, the other guy won. I forget what his name was.
Josh Stein. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It would be nice if we could get some more seats in the Senate and in the House. But hey,
yeah,
if we do keep the House, I will be happy. That would be great. And if
definitely,
we take the Senate, that would be wonderful too. Let's see.
Trump's ahead in Indiana and Kentucky, obviously. Yeah, any of the key states, that's what matters right now.
The swing states.
The Georgias, the Michigans, the Pennsylvanias, the Arizonas, the Nevadas, the Wisconsins. And it's a tight one in Virginia too. That might have a chance in Virginia. I can see that. But the popular vote, he's up by 6 points.
People don't care about the popular vote.
No, I know that.
And I hope she does not get 54 electoral votes here in California.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's only 2 states that are not winner take all, and that's Nebraska and Maine.
Okay. So
they can split the delegates.
Sorry. We're going to try a different one. They're going to slow on that one.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Let me turn her up.
That's all good.
I got too many screens up.
Okay.
It's 11 p.m., so that also means that polls are closing on the West Coast. That includes California, that major electoral vote prize we just mentioned, with 54. Polls are also closed in Idaho, Oregon, and Washington State. So at this hour, United States. Joining me to break all of this down is Sagar Magani. Hello.
Hello, Meg.
So
Look at
California
Minnesota.
is
That
one of
looks
these
very
major
interesting.
electoral polls we've been talking about. Now it's been awarded to Kamala Harris. Is this a surprise?
Not a surprise.
You keep telling me that these are not surprises.
I wish I had something other than that to tell you. But for starters, she's from California.
True.
California is always heavily Democrat.
No, it doesn't.
4 electoral votes is quite a lot to add to that total now, 214 to 179. For so long, there's been a huge disparity between there, especially after Donald Trump won Ohio and he won Texas with their big hauls. The hauls we have not yet gotten, we have to go back to the early hours of the show, those 7 battleground states.
Right.
None of them have been called, from Georgia heading out to Nevada.
So all these states, you're still telling me we don't have calls there.
All of that is purple there. They're neither red nor blue on the other maps. So that's what everyone is still waiting on.
Right. And as we keep saying, these are the spots that the margins are anticipated to be so close. And so we're thinking that's going to take longer and longer and go
The vote
into
will
the night.
take a good while.
When we think about the other races that are happening tonight, not just the presidential contest, but those down ballot races in the House and Senate that we're also following here at the AP, I know that there have been a few moments of history that have been happening tonight. Give us an update on that.
Yeah, we could get a history if Kamala Harris does win the presidency. Of course, she would be the first Black woman elected to the White House. She was already the second Black woman elected to the Senate. Only the second. Today alone, 2 more have been elected. You have Angela Alsobrooks in Maryland, Elisa Rochester in Delaware, which also made more history, 2 for 1. Sarah McBride has been elected to the House. She becomes the first openly transgender member of the U.S. Congress. So,
boy, I'm done.
Always good.
What does that mean? What does that even mean?
AP, not just the presidential contest. So thank you for that.
What does that even mean?
We will be back with you in a moment with more AP race calls and election night updates. As a reminder, like we're talking about, AP has a lot more information on some of the other contests that we are following on our website, apnews.com. There you can also find continually updated live blogs from all of these contests. Back with you soon.
Ugh. Like, come on, man. Really? First openly trained. Listen, I'm good.
Well,
Never.
I would like to understand, how would somebody expect that person to govern them correctly if they don't know their own gender?
That's impossible.
If they had issues with who they were, why do you think that they could govern you? And
They
then
can't.
I thought we left this whole transgender thing alone when she and everybody else is saying she's going to be the first woman president. Like, I need help understanding this.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy, man.
Well, let's see. This is just, I don't know. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And then for them to say, oh, California is already going to call it for her. No.
Count the votes out. Oh, that's right. They're not going to count the votes out. They're just going to give it to her.
And see, they should have, everything should have been done. That's my thing. You have early voting. You have people doing the electronic vote. So it doesn't make sense for it to take a few days or a week for them to, let us know.
What they should have done was all go back to paper. Go back to paper.
Exactly. Since they struggle. We're just screwed. Okay, well, we're going to come back to this. I want to show a video.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
You know, whenever people are in power, they have this tendency to try to, tilt things in their direction.
So I was having a conversation this morning with a friend of mine, and we were talking about voter ID, and he was shocked that you don't need voter ID in, I believe it's 15 states. 15 states require no ID.
Hello. How we doing?
Can I get the first 3 letters of your last name?
This is the polling booth in California.
H-E-N.
Oh, okay.
And the first 3 letters of your first name?
J-O-R. It may be that may be correct.
Oh, and then your house number?
It may be.
Can you confirm your year of birth?
It might be 1985. But it might not.
I'm gonna cancel your vote by mail ballot.
Is your birthday 1985?
It might be. I mean, yeah, but it might not be.
Well, what is your birthday?
It's 1985.
Okay.
I'm just saying it might not be. You can't verify it. But I'm just telling you it is.
Okay, are you? You're gonna sign an oath? You're okay with?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign it off.
That it's 1985.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Great.
I just saying it might not be.
I'm gonna cancel your vote by mail ballot.
You can't see
Wow.
my ID, right? You could just verify my ID, right?
I mean, I take your word for it. It's California.
Exactly. So
So-
might be, might not be.
But if you're,
Yeah,
Takes one.
I'll sign my own.
Takes his word
I
for
just
it.
want to ask a quick question, Susan. She asked him. She's a
Better than me.
I get it.
She asked him if his birthday was 1985, and he said it is.
It definitely
and he
is.
says
Okay.
it might not be.
But it might not be.
What does that mean?
What? Yeah.
I don't know. Could you want to verify it?
Well, I'm just asking.
So
to
you
be
don't
honest.
ask them if this is their date, you ask them the year.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
The year.
it's at 1985.
It is. Okay. Then
Might not be though.
That's fine. If you're saying it's 1985.
It's
you're gonna
1985.
sign.
This might not be. I mean,
Well,
you can't really verify
It
it.
checks your
ID.
Yeah.
20, I think it's 24 or 25 states require ID, but only, I think, 11 of them require you to have photo ID. This is a weird one in this election that I've tried to look at as objectively as possible, and I can't see any reason why you would not need ID to vote unless you wanted people to vote that aren't qualified
Tilt
to vote.
things in their
Voter
direction.
fraud is incredibly rare. It's really hard to get away with that successfully. And in 2020,
At scale, you mean?
yeah, it's not scalable. Yeah, it's like it's like, and usually it's kind of local kinds of communities, and people, they either know that person or it's not. It's never going to be organized in a point where you can pack a box, or you can't determine that kind of a thing.
What should we expect in terms of results on election night?
So on election night, don't expect to know the winner. We probably will have a pretty good idea who won the presidency, maybe around Thursday or Friday.
But other than making things a little bit easier to cheat,
Voter fraud.
what would be the logic behind not having voter ID? Like, what I've tried to look at this as objectively as possible. I can't find any reason why you would not require someone to be able to prove that they're the person they say they are when they're putting in their ballots.
It's not a hill that I'm saying we have to die on that too. But
it's a vulnerability, clearly, right?
It's also there. But some people may not believe that in a lot of these kinds of communities, ones that I live in. for some people, they're not going to, they don't have an ID necessarily, or they've lost it or whatever. And, like
but you need one to get a driver's license. You need one to get a Costco
card. They don't have it. They don't have it. Yeah, they would have to get an ID, or it costs X amount of dollars, or those kinds of a thing. It's a barrier, and it usually tends to skew more towards people that are, coming from those kinds of communities, and the Republicans understand that they're usually going to skew towards Democratic voters through that, so that's kind of the argument on that. And there's never been any evidence that there is widespread kinds of voter fraud, and that's.
But we really didn't have widespread mail-in ballots to the.
Says the person who doesn't know where he is at the time.
In 2020, we really didn't have that before.
All of those were. There was 5 or 6, dead moms that were voting.
Did you see the story about the Chinese national who was arrested because he voted, and then he tried to get his ballot back, and that's how they.
Is that illegal immigrants are voting by the millions.
That is 100% false.
就喺2年前我嚟到三藩市嘅時候咧，咁我就認識咗好多原來三藩市有好多嘅權利㗎喎，好多權利係好多非公民啊、移民咧都。
Okay, so do not adjust your televisions. That was the newest member of the San Francisco Election Commission speaking in her native tongue. She is not a U.S. citizen yet. She is a Chinese citizen on the Election Commission in San Francisco, a commission which oversees local, state, and federal elections.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah, this is a thing that just happened. And unfortunately, once he's voted, even though he was not eligible to vote, his vote is going to count.
Every single voter has to give a driver's license number or a social security number, which is matched against files, databases that are held to make sure the voter is who they say they are and they're eligible to vote. And we also know that states who have gone looking for non-citizens voters have found shockingly few even potential non-citizen registrants.
Texas removed some, I mean, there's lawsuits about it, but Texas removed somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 million people that were ineligible to vote, that could have been voting.
Well, but everybody knows who's voting and who's not voting on that. And then that's why...
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by everybody knows?
Well, and remember also, too, Dominion, people on the Trump side, they all said that Dominion's was corrupt. And that cost Fox $800 million. They had to pay $800 million about defamation for saying that it was rigged, or if it's not, and there was no evidence. And they had to just acknowledge that this was the honest thing. So,
but Dominion is it's a computer program, right? It's a computer. Like that's what you're doing. You're doing electronic voting.
Yeah, that was a system that mostly
the election results.
Yeah, Fetterman, he don't even know where he is half the time, and he's just probably taking talking points from his handlers, like Biden does.
Job counting its votes, so the first of those
Well,
7 states.
I think that's why he went on Rogan without any
votes now
handler.
going into the
He
Trump
could-
map.
Yeah.
He
He's saying.
spent a lot of time there. He was just there in the days leading up to the
Definitely.
election, there after the hurricanes, reassuring people. This is the 3rd straight time.
She said
It's now
179 electoral
2016,
and
2020.
Trump is
Both of those are by
230.
slim margins. 1.3%.
I see.
Over Joe Biden 4 years ago. The margin at this point doesn't matter.
I'm looking at Minnesota and Michigan right now,
His column, he can now mark one of those battleground states.
and Kamala's barely hanging on to Virginia. That's a very light blue. Same thing with New Mexico and Oregon.
To go, they again, we've said this time and again, but it's just the way it is. They will determine what happens, who gets to 270 first.
Absolutely. We have the first one of those battleground calls. We will be on the lookout for more. Thank you so much. And thank you all. Again, we will be bringing you more AP race calls as they come into us. Back soon.
They need to hurry up with this. We're all waiting.
I know, right?
Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Hacking Democracy. Did you ever see that?
Again, there's always going to be people that are going to try to have an influence on that.
Right, but did you see that documentary? It was about the Republicans doing it.
I haven't seen that documentary.
It was a documentary during the Bush administration, and one that they showed that the Diebold machines, when Diebold was a significant contributor, I believe, to the Republican Party, they showed in the documentary that you could use a third-party input to change the results. And they actually proved it in the documentary, and people were pointing to this as, oh my God, the Republicans are cheating, and the Republicans have used this to try to rig the election for George Bush. It was an HBO documentary.
I'm not accusing. I've never monkeyed around with elections. The Republicans, in 2016.
No, I'm not saying you did. What I'm trying to say is that this is not a thing that's only been leveled against the Democrats using it. This is not like an accusation that only applies to Democrats. In the past, a similar accusation was applied to Republicans.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we can all agree that we need to have just like our border, we need a secure border, and we need an absolutely secure voting system as well too. I mean, that should never be considered controversial. To that. First, Democrats saying, "Hey, though, we need a secure border. It's a significant issue." And if I thought there was any kinds of issues, and I've been very vigilant throughout, I've been actively involved in and those kinds of things, and I've never witnessed those kinds of a thing.
But what do you mean by issues? Like, what kind of issues you're talking about? You're talking about people letting people in order to get votes?
Well, it's not. There's not that level kinds. I don't think there's that level kinds of organization.
But there is an organization that's moving these people to swing states. There's a significant number of these people that are illegal immigrants that have made their way to swing states. And then there's been calls for amnesty. There's been calls for allowing these people to have a pathway to citizenship and allow them to vote.
Democrats have
the fear that a lot of people have is that this is a coordinated effort to take these people that you're allowing to come into the country, and you're providing them with all sorts of services like food stamps and housing and setting them up, and then providing a pathway to amnesty, and then you would have voters that would be significantly voting towards the Democrats because they're the people that enabled them to come into the country in the first place and provided them with those services. This is a big fear that people have, and that you're rigging this system, and that this will turn all these states into essentially locked blue like California is.
Well, it's immigration is always going to be a tough issue in our nation. I had as a professor in grad school, Alan Simpson, and he was a United States senator. He was Wyoming, and he was actually a pro-choice Republican. I mean, how rare that would be. Well, it doesn't exist now. And he said, you are never going to have any meaningful immigration kinds of legislation. He's like, because both sides, that's useful for them, and it's going to be back and forth. And he said that 25 years ago.
Useful meaning the debate, having it always a political
it's
talking
useful
point.
For one side or the other. It's useful. And he said they were never going to be. And he said that in 1999. Mm-hmm. And I voted for the border deal, and that went down. And that's, I mean, he said that 25 years ago, and that was absolutely true now, that they had an opportunity to do a comprehensive border, bipartisan, and that went down because Trump, he declared that's a bad deal after it was negotiated with the other side.
But didn't that deal also involve amnesty? And didn't that deal also involve a significant number of illegal aliens being allowed into the country every year? I think it was 2 million people. So it was still the same sort of situation, and their fear is exactly what I talked about, that these people will be moved to swing states, and that will be used to essentially rig those states and turn them blue forever.
Well, I'm not really sure if that's what's in play. I think it's really it's important that we have to have an honest conversation.
But doesn't that
a lot of stuttering going on there?
A significant number of people that are being moved into swing states that have come across the border illegally, and then you provided them with all these services. You provided them with food stamps, EBT, you provided them with housing. You could, if you gave those people amnesty and allowed those people to vote, and it was very organized, you're talking about 75,000 votes over a few counties that switched everything over to the Republicans. You could see how you import 10 million people over the course of 4 years illegally, and then move a significant number of them to swing states, and then provide them with all these services, and then give them a path to citizenship. You could essentially rig those states.
Undeniably, immigration is changing our nation.
So I knew this. Obviously, I heard it. So I wanted to show you guys.
This is my friend O's.
Unauthorized migrant population. And this was since 2021. This is just illegals. I don't know what unauthorized migrant population means. Illegals.
Wisconsin.
Since 2021, this
Michigan.
is the increase in Georgia, 401% of illegals just in that state. North Carolina, 446%. Pennsylvania, 241%. Arizona, they influxed, 734%. Nevada, increase of 562%. Michigan, 775% increase. Wisconsin, 467% increase of illegals versus normal. So obviously something is going on here. So that's what Joe Rogan is saying. Hey, there's an abnormally large amount of people, illegals, being put into specific areas, all battleground states. How is that a coincidence to say? How are you doing this Real Talk?
It's no coincidence.
Hello.
What's going on?
That's my everything.
I see you typing away.
Well, because you know where I stand on everything.
Yes.
I truly believe they're going to rig this election. There's been, I mean, we just saw the statistics on where they're sending everybody. And DeSantis and Abbott, I mean, they're like Fetterman said, they're both sides are in on it. They both benefit. Now Democrats will benefit from it, and then later Republicans might benefit from it.
So I want to be honest. It's not as if it's just Republicans who have monkeyed around with elections in the past. Sometimes Democrats have too. Whenever people are in power, they have this tendency to try to, tilt things in their direction.
The court is not going to save us. And so that means the only thing that really works is people in motion, amending the Constitution. But again, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient because
even if Trump wins, we need to listen to what Raskin says.
That's very true.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions.
People have to have faith in the outcome. The reason we have ballots is to avoid bullets. And if you say ballots don't matter anymore, there's only one logical direction to go, and that's not healthy in any democracy.
Happy Hunger Games! And may the odds be ever in your favor.
You guys know where I stand.
Yes, you do.
I mean, we're screwed. Regardless of if it's Trump or Harris, we are screwed.
It was always my prediction. Yeah, it was always my prediction that we would be lucky to make it to this day. So we're here, and I'm still not convinced that he's going to win.
Right. So it's going to be wild and crazy for a sitting congressional leader to say that they're not going to certify his results. That's wild. Like, we the people voted for this electoral college, and he's going to say that they're not going to certify our votes. Like, we gave them too much power. These are our employees, and they think that they're our rulers. No.
Well, majority of them listen to Benjamin Netanyahu and not we the people anyway, or AIPAC or any other lobby, special interest lobby.
We the people need to stand up for ourselves.
Yes, we do.
So
it's crazy.
Interesting.
Very
interesting.
Let's see. Like you said, the steal is already on. People just don't know it yet.
Right.
Or people do know it, or just,
Well, they have some good news.
What's that?
I'm about to go to it right now. Give me 1 second.
Maybe it's an early night.
All right. This one. Okay. And Trump is up in the electoral.
That's the good part.
Yes. And he's up in the popular. So it might be wrong. But we still got to see if they do not call it tonight and they try to,
Yeah.
Need some more time. We shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, I know Kamala's going to win Illinois. Maryland's Kamala's. Virginia's looking kind of promising. So is Minnesota. Maine is looking kind of promising too. And New Hampshire.
My friend says Maine and New Hampshire look suspect.
Yeah, I see that. It does look suspect.
Right, lots of red, yes. But we shall see. Raskin said he's not going to certify our results. So I don't know.
He may talk about it, but is he really going to do that? Is he going to really put himself in a situation where he'll never be able to have a straight face?
Him or?
Well, I look at it generally. The Jewish community is pretty much divided down the middle in terms of who they want as president. He's Jewish, and he's one of those, I'm going to say, neoliberal Jews that's pretty much in with AIPAC. The thing about it is, if you look at it from a perspective, he says one thing and then does another. He says he's against the war in Gaza, but then does a whole other thing like, well, I don't like Trump either. The same man who I think would bring peace, you're trying to not certify the electoral results. That's kind of dumb. You're shooting yourself in the foot, bud. That's the way I see it. I mean, Commissioner Wisdom would tell you, well, the guy who actually wants peace is the one you want in office, but that's just me.
Oh my God. Why? I'm sorry. Why is shifts so
me? The update on the electoral vote totals: 230 for Republican Donald Trump, 192 for Democrat Kamala Harris. Back with me, as always, is Sagar Meghani. So, Sagar, just to go back to our last update, we have North Carolina, that one battleground that's been called for Republican Donald Trump. Still the 6 battlegrounds outstanding. These other 2 calls that we just had for Kamala Harris, more of the expected blue states that we were thinking.
More of the same from earlier. North Carolina, of course, not unexpected for the Republican nominee to win in North Carolina. You had Barack Obama in 2008. You had Jimmy Carter in 1976. That's really about for 2 generations of Democrats, but still 16 electoral votes, the first of the battlegrounds that Donald Trump can now claim, looking ahead to those other 6.
What about these Senate calls where we've had winners declared in California and Ohio? Where do these races kind of put us in all that?
This is what Democrats feared. They saw Sherrod Brown, the 3-term senator, as one of the most endangered of them. Keep in mind a 51-49 Democratic lead in the Senate going into today. That is now at this moment 51-49 for the Republicans after you had Jim Justice win a seat in West Virginia. Angela also Brooks won in Maryland, but there are still a few more outstanding. John Tester in Montana, Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, 2 Democrats trying to hold on to their seats. The Democrats' best hope right now, can Colin Aldred strip Ted Cruz of his GOP seat in Texas?
That's not happening.
The chamber once again.
Definitely. Thank you so much. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll have more AP race calls coming your way and election night updates. For now, we will leave you with these.
Already, I think he was way behind last I checked.
Back with you soon.
Man, I hope not. I need
Ted Cruz to hold on.
Right?
But I think McCormick's going to win PA. I don't think Bob Casey's going to hold on to that.
I hope not. We shall see.
And then you got Kerry Lake in Arizona right now. We'll see about that. Against Gallego.
Let me see who I won. Hold on 1 second. This is just ridiculous. I don't know why anybody would vote for her. And then why did Adam win in California? Oh my goodness, what is okay. Yeah, so Washington, 58. How he barely win California? Boy, I do not like my state.
I know. Utah's a given. Yeah, no, they haven't called Alaska yet or Hawaii.
No, nor Nevada.
Mm-mm.
Of course,
And Virginia's purple.
How she almost went Texas? Okay, I gotta go to Texas. I gotta go to Texas. Oklahoma.
Pretty much, you won Tornado Alley. I'm looking at it.
Right.
That's all a Tornado Alley right there.
Is her coming in at like 29%, 30%?
Yeah.
33. Like, so I wonder, man, I'm happy she barely won Louisiana. Mississippi too. Yeah, I just gotta move. I'll go deal with the natural weather. This is just crazy.
Yeah, those are leaning towards Trump, Michigan and Wisconsin. Yep.
Georgia. 51. Of course, he got Florida. That's his home. So
right.
They wouldn't even. I wonder, did she even go there? Did she even try?
I believe she did. She did. I believe she did at least twice.
That's stupid. That's very foolish of her. What? Oh, it's New York, of course.
It's not surprising.
Right.
They said no. There was no Republican opponents going against any Democrat congressman in Massachusetts, or like they were weak. That's what they were saying earlier. The down ballot races.
Okay, so she get all basically the water spots, and Trump gets inland U.S. Right, let's see. I see.
Well, the majority of urban areas along the coastlines anyway. Boston's, the New York's, the Phillies, Baltimore's, the DC, all the way down through Miami.
Looks like I have to move more inland. Get off the coast. Get out of the coast. Let's see what AP got going on. Still nothing.
It's the same, pretty much the same. Virtually the same thing. It's virtually the same thing. Same map.
Let me see if I can find something else. Something interesting.
You were thinking about it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was thinking all the places closed at 8 o'clock in Nevada, they would start counting by now.
Well, you heard the CNN dude. They're not going to let us know anything election night, supposedly.
Friday, yeah.
Right. But according to...
Crazy.
Everything. I hope she just does not win. But I want to show everybody my shirt. I got a shirt made today. I just didn't put it on because it wasn't going to show up on the camera. So see, it has her. And then on the back, it has scripture. Revelation 17, verses 3-5. My homeboy G Will, he made it with SG Designs.
Oh, okay.
If she wins
that's a nice shirt.
Thank you. The queen of prostitutes.
That's some very powerful verses out of Revelations. I can tell you that right now. Very powerful.
My bad, G. My bad. Yes, I pray Trump will win. For America, we will be spared. I'm hoping Trump win. I went to vote for Trump. However, I'm not trusting my elections. Here in California, I went to go and vote. And the video that I showed in my video where the guy wasn't asked for his ID, that happened to me today. I volunteered my ID. I was like, would you like to see my ID? The girl's like, no, it's fine. So they just trust us going by the few initials in our first name, the few letters in our first and last name and our year of birth and street address. Anybody could give that information.
They did the same thing here in Camden. They didn't ask for any information either.
See?
Here in Jersey, yep.
So, we can't, I don't know. If she does win, they cheated.
Period.
I believe they cheated 2020. So the only way that this would change is if we
too big to rig. That's on.
What happened? What happened?
I don't see anything.
No, because he said I tried twice to vote since they were not verifying, and he lives in California too.
That's crazy.
And I was tempted to doing that, but I was like, no. And then my sister, they wouldn't even let her vote.
Why?
I don't know. She said that it was just too many issues that she had, so she couldn't vote. I was like, what the heck?
What kind of issues are they talking about?
No.
That's weird.
You could have forged another signature. I would eat.
Right.
But yeah, that's the only way they verify it is the signature. Right.
Okay. That's crazy.
It truly is. Really, truly is. And for them to call California for her.
Just right off the bat. Like,
that irritates me. She's at 205. I'll share this screen. I do want Trump to win though.
You and me both. The people who know want Trump to win.
I would not be surprised. 230 to 205. He only needs 40 and she needs 65. So what? That's going to be.
Break it down by county. See what Georgia looks like in terms of can you break it down by county?
No. I don't think
so. Okay.
I better know what I'm doing.
I know, like
10 o'clock.
Like,
Okay. 9 o'clock. Okay, so in 10 minutes, we should know Hawaii. Results expected soon. Stand by. Okay.
So I know New Jersey, they can break it down by county. And I know New Jersey is going to Kamala. I'm not shocked by that.
Good. Black men showed out in Georgia. And that's another thing I want to say. And I needed to say to the Black women that have a problem with Black men voting Donald Trump. Y'all don't pay attention to nothing. You barely make proper decisions with a man. So y'all just need a hush. Because it's just ridiculous. Like,
the same goes for Black men too. Those who aren't paying attention to what's going on are completely lost, in my opinion.
Well, they don't pay right. Like you said, they don't pay attention. And any man that wants to be led by a woman, in my opinion, is weak. That's weak. And no woman will respect you. I'm sorry.
No, they'll destroy you.
Right. So I hope.
So they took a poll. They said 85% of the Africans living in the African nations support Donald Trump. I think this was like the other day.
Yeah, a lot of people support him, especially around the world. It's only in America where we have issues supporting him.
Like even Iran are one of our enemies right now that Israel's fighting, supports Trump. Because they know he'll bring peace to the table.
Right. those that's voting against it, they're not looking, they're only looking at right now how he makes them feel, and it's like, screw how you feel. I don't care. It's what he does. How does he do his job? And he does his job well.
Yes, he does.
Like, I didn't vote for the dude in 2016, but I voted for him in 2020.
This is my third time. This is my third time voting for him. Third time.
Oh, that's good. Man.
Yeah, they have lost their minds. They have definitely lost their minds.
They want the mother of Babylon, the mother of all prophecies, to win, so they could continue with their bad behavior. So, but it looks like she will not win. So I might be wrong, and if I am happy. But that does not mean that she or anyone else will not stop trying.
Right. That sounds about right.
So, yeah. And they cannot blame black men for this. She lost because she sucks. She is not a friend to America. I mean, if anybody looked at the policies that she approved of, just the Inflation Reduction Act alone, it was her party that pushed that policy that got it to the finish line, and inflation skyrocketed after that bill.
Yeah.
So
sure did. That whole omnibus bill too. Is that what?
Wake up.
$2 trillion.
Not like every year, they especially around Christmas.
And then what? How many billions do we send to Ukraine? What, $250-something billion? Would it be?
I lost track. And they're losing that war on top of that. So
listen, I wouldn't want to be. I don't want to be pelted with 75,000 to 80,000 rounds a day. I'd run too. The Russians are just pelting them with artillery and rockets. It's crazy. There's no reason why they should be over there. And the Russians are bold enough to let North Korea get into the fight. So you know the Ukrainians are in trouble. But yeah, something got to give.
Yeah, so Trump get in and he'll fix everything. And I'm not saying that he is the savior. I'm just saying strategically it makes sense to have him. Politics is a game of chess, not checkers.
Yep. And his way of economics is about tariffs, not sanctions. And that's what I like about it too.
Tariffs. And Joe Biden did the tariffs and increase them. That's why we have BRICS. So
he tried to hit them with the sanctions. And really, that's what he had, like you said. Instead of sanctions, how about you hit them with tariffs? It's an easier way to do things.
I mean, if we over here importing all of their goods, it only makes sense.
Because he was killing China and India with them tariffs.
I'm hoping he wins. He gets in and he fixes things.
He should. But he needs to pick a good cabinet too. Not no snakes in the grass.
Right. Yes.
No more.
Hopefully he learns from his previous mistakes.
No Mike Pence, no John Bolton's, no Mike Pompeo's, no John Kelly's. Jeff Sessions is another one. I mean, we can go down the list. Elaine Chao. I mean, there's a whole bunch of snakes in this cabinet.
Everybody.
The only person, yeah, I wouldn't say Rick Perry. He tried. Former governor of Texas, and Ben Carson. Everybody else, yeah, snakes in the grass.
I appreciate Ben, but yeah, everybody else.
Yeah, like I think Rick Perry and Ben Carson, only two in the cabinet that weren't snakes.
But we shall see. We shall see. I'm just hoping it can stay like this. He wins popular as well as the electoral vote. And it'll be good.
I think if he picked the cabinet, I think Vivek should be Secretary of Commerce. Ben Carson should be Surgeon General, definitely.
Right?
RFK Jr.
Education.
No. HHS, definitely. And then obviously Surgeon General, we get Ben Carson.
You better have Tulsi in there. Ron Paul.
Or Rand Paul.
I say Ron.
Rand Paul, yeah, well, his son can do it. Although Ron Paul would help.
Pops is better.
Yes, Pops is better. Tulsi Gabbard can be Secretary of State or Defense. She can do either or. I don't know about Elon. Maybe he's just
right. And I mean, I get a lot of conservatives like him. Like he's a hit and miss. I'm not saying that he is all out bad guy, but come on now, he's the father of Neuralink. Like I can't get past that.
He can lead NASA.
Side of it.
He could do NASA since he's already got SpaceX anyway.
Yes, he could do that. But I don't know. I think folks should, everybody should be leery of everybody. These people are not your friends. Anybody in power is not your friend. They're not trying to be your friend, especially when the majority is gullible, emotional, don't think. So
some of them don't use common sense. Some of them seriously.
It's not common, unfortunately. Sense is not common amongst people. And it has not been that way for years.
Yeah. For decades, rather. Since Reagan.
Right. So.
It's just a lot. Like I said, it's a lot to unpack if and when Donald Trump gets elected. It'll be a lot to unpack.
It will be wonderful when he gets elected. Things aren't going to change immediately, but sure. I'm not going to have to be done to make this anymore. Okay. Florida remained red. Okay. Let's see what she's 209. Oh.
Yeah, see that.
Just a little bit. Doesn't really matter. Oh, Hawaii. Of course. Hawaii went blue. Why the expensive places is blue? Like, nobody's peeping that out. All the expensive places are blue, and they're going for her. So
that's Tulsi Gabbard's home, and they went blue. You would think, but I'm not shocked.
Right. But see, Tulsi was a Democrat,
right?
So she just switched to Republican. But yeah, Tulsi has always been a Democrat. And see, that's another thing for the people that's switching jumping from Democrat to Republican. Something got to make people think a little bit, but I don't know. Nobody wants to think anymore. It's too difficult.
Well, if I'm correct, it should be, certain situations where you try to use discernment. Some of those people come over there, they have a legitimate reason for it. They're tired of what they're seeing. Like Tulsi Gabbard is absolutely fed up with the Democrats. They try to put her in jail, not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Right.
Try to throw her in jail. Try to deny her passport. Try to deny her pre-check. All this other stuff they're doing. It was crazy. Like they cheated Bernie Sanders with Hillary Clinton. They did the same thing to her in 2020.
And see, that's another thing. Everybody saw that. Everybody saw them cheat Bernie. So why would you think that they wouldn't have cheated Donald?
Right.
So I don't know.
And I've never heard like super get delegates. Why do we have super delegates? That's crazy.
I'm happy she's not winning. Yes. So yeah, my prediction was wrong. But still, we don't know for sure because they could do anything. I don't trust them.
That sounds about right.
I don't trust them. I don't even want to go to bed tonight. I think of some mysterious ballots going to be dropped off in the middle of the night.
Probably in Philly or Detroit or Atlanta, more than likely, or Milwaukee. Some boxes of ballots to be dropped off.
So I really want to know who they're going to try and blame. Okay, we're going to go back to the Associated Press. They didn't put that up there. They're getting excited. I want to know how many people are going to be crying. I can't wait to see posts tomorrow.
God, dude. Ooh, that's going to be interesting.
Right? Oh my God.
Now, which one is that on the far left? Where's that one at? On the top left corner. Where's that?
The bottom left?
No, the top left.
Associated Press. This is an election 2024
That's AP.
update. Live from Washington.
Oh, okay, just AP, okay.
Yeah, this is all AP.
Welcome back. We are back to bring you some new AP race call updates. The Associated Press has declared Democrat Kamala Harris the winner of the states of Virginia and Hawaii. AP has also made determinations in 3 U.S. Senate contests, all of which have resulted in incumbents keeping their seats. They are Republican Ted Cruz in Texas, Democrat Mazie Hirono in Hawaii, and Democrat Amy Klobuchar in Minnesota.
But I don't get why she
race. Again, you can take a look at the live voting map in the screen next to me.
So Royce White lost.
Vote totals now updated to 230 for Donald Trump and 205 for Kamala Harris. We will continue to bring you more AP race calls and election night updates throughout this evening. But for now, we will leave you with a live look at vote counting as it takes place in one of those battleground states, Wisconsin. Back with you soon.
Yeah, Royce White was running up against Klobuchar. He lost. That's unfortunate. He had a chance, too.
I don't get why she won. She said that she don't care about Amy, yeah, she said she didn't care about her constituents' health.
Right.
Her two crazy. But again, people don't listen.
People used to what they know as opposed to trying something different. People fear what they don't understand.
True.
They want to go with what's comfortable instead of the inconvenient truth. It ain't working out. Expecting the same result over and over again. Something's going to change.
They don't get that. They're literally the definition of insanity.
Yep.
So I have no trust in a lot of these people. They just continue to disappoint.
We're not supposed to trust them. Supposed to do their job and hold them accountable. Say, hold us accountable.
No, we're not going to do that. They're our friends. They love us and they will never do us wrong. Hey, I'm just going by the logic that I feel that these individuals have. Because, I mean, I don't know. Like, I asked somebody today because they're like, vote blue. It was in some group chat. Not a group chat, but on Facebook in one of the little groups that I follow for California. And they're like, vote blue all the way down. And so I just asked a simple question, why? Like,
good question, why?
Can you tell me what is it and how has it been beneficial for us? And somebody came in, they're like, oh, you're crazy. Excuse me. If you're going to respond to me, answer my question. Why? Don't respond emotionally. Do not insult me. Because you are the reason why we are on the path that we're on. So, I don't know. Like,
It's a whole different situation.
51, 53 these days.
Yeah.
I'm all for the division because we cannot unite with everybody. It's sad, but we need separation. And it's
some cultures are incompatible, therefore it warrants a national divorce.
Exactly. And even if Trump was to win tonight, we still have Senator Raskin to worry about with them not certifying elections and
like I said, if he was smart,
live from Washington.
If Trump were to win, if he were smart, he'd be retracting all of that.
News with this alert that just moved on the AP wire. Right. Republicans have won a U.S. Senate majority, seizing control of the chamber for the first time in 4 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yes. The winner of the U.S. Senate contest in the state of Nebraska. Again, this is an AP News alert that has just moved. We will be back with you with more information on other race calls and other updates on this election.
So hopefully we keep the House and the Senate. Oh, yes. Oh, and then Trump will win too. Oh, yes. Yep. Yes.
That's a good thing right now.
Raskin, we don't have to worry about them not certifying our results because we got the Senate. So we're going to have a House. Yes. A win for America. Half of a win anyway. So far.
Right.
Still good.
I
wonder how everybody is reacting on the internet.
That's a good question.
I can't wait to see Charlamagne's post tomorrow.
Oh boy. Couple of people actually. Couple of people.
Man, it's a win.
Joy Taylor, Shannon Sharp. I mean, a few other people.
Right. The View. Oh, I should watch The View tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
See Oprah. I mean, not Oprah, but Whoopi and them.
Whoopi explode. Joey Behar, all of them explode, and Steiny Hostin, and what's the other girl's name that's on there? The young one. I think she's kind of like, Ana Navarro's on there too. Tells you how much I don't have a life. I know all other names.
We won the Senate.
Let's keep the House. Even if Kamala wins, nothing gets passed. Because it'd be executive order after executive order, and it gets struck down by the courts.
Man.
But did you hear about the whole thing about black men voting for Kamala if she dropped child support or rescind child support or alimony? Yeah. It was a few days ago, actually. I heard about that. It was crazy. I was like, they were saying black men would vote for Kamala if you forgive all child support or alimony. Back child support and alimony.
Yeah, those are some immature black men.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds crazy. Yeah, a friend of mine told me that, and I was like, really? That's crazy.
I would see that coming from somebody that's weak that is already voting for her, but not. I don't know. The black men that I know, they weren't voting for her for biblical purposes and because of what they
same here.
Current administration. So I don't know any that would have been voting for her because of child support. Like, no.
Right.
But those are, I don't know. To me, that's like the weak individual.
No, I agree with you on that.
Masculine man, no.
Nah. It just sounds crazy.
Yes. So I'm very happy.
Well, let's see. Like I said, Carol Lake wins. That's another seat.
Carol
what other
Lake,
Senate? Oh yeah.
Carrie Lake didn't win.
She didn't win. Okay. I think McCormick is another one that's in Pennsylvania right now against Bob Casey.
Let's see.
Bob McCormick.
I hope we get the House one. The results are expected for the House at 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Which is another 45 minutes.
I'm going to, so we could go over the results on the other page. All right.
230 to 210.
Yeah. This is the Senate. We got the Senate. Freaking California. I'm just so disappointed in my state. Oh, looking like we might keep the House too.
That looks very interesting.
Oh yes,
that looks very promising.
House. Look at California.
Yeah, it's a lot of red. It's a lot of red. Just except along the cities.
Right. We're gonna keep the House.
That's okay. Yeah, Dave McCormick is winning Pennsylvania. That's good.
House, 10 o'clock.
Look at all them seats in Cali. Holy cow.
Right. Folks want everywhere else to be like California. Nope.
Right.
Let me be able to move out of California. Okay, governors. Oh, shoot. Dang. GOP won the governors. Dang. Yeah, of course, California wasn't getting rid of their governor.
That's 2026 for California. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but we want to keep Newsom like some dumbasses.
New Jersey's is next year. Said they're odd year, 2025 for governor. But Murphy can't run again, so it doesn't matter. He'll be a new governor no matter what. Same thing, Virginia. There's one once every 4 years.
And so we got 40 minutes. And we'll know who has the House. I think the Republicans going to take the House back, so we'll be good.
We'll keep it, rather, yeah.
We'll be right. Keep it, my bad.
So that means they'll complete control of Congress.
Man, and wouldn't that be lovely? That would be lovely.
Yep.
It would be beautiful.
Would be.
Harris Raleigh needs to hurry up and end or just cry because your girl ain't winning.
No.
You don't even see that many melanated people there. Where's Beyonce now?
Yeah, where's Cardi B? Where's Jay-Z?
Right?
Where's Megan?
Wait, did she was she? Oh yeah, she did perform for her at a rally
in Atlanta. Of course.
Right. I forgot.
I mean, where's J-Lo and all them too?
Right. The whole P. Diddy party, the Epstein Island people. Where are they?
Yeah, where are they at?
How are they not out?
Yeah, Kelly Rowland showed up too for Kamala.
Oh yeah, her and what was that other guy? Because Kelly Rowland came in a suit, and I didn't even fully pay attention to the symbolism, but she came in a suit, and one of those Migos people.
Yeah, it was Offset. It was Offset.
Okay, oh, that was Offset. Okay, he came dressing like a. That was all. Dang, he came dressed like a girl.
Yeah, like a weirdo. But anyway. And of course, John Legend showed up at one of her rallies too.
Yeah. You know how that is.
Are they playing DMX? Are you serious? This is crazy.
They was playing all type of R&B in there all night.
I see.
They hate themselves. They don't just hate you. You mean they hate themselves. Anybody voting for Kamala?
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Themselves.
Manhood is in jeopardy. If you vote for Kamala, your manhood is in serious jeopardy.
Your livelihood is in jeopardy, but yes, your masculinity definitely. And nothing's wrong with a masculine man. I mean, masculine men built America. Masculine men protect women. Masculine men they're wonderful. They're a blessing. They're godsend. So
yes,
yeah.
And feminine women are a blessing too on that opposite side of that. But it's also up to the men to make sure women stay in their femininity and make them feel safe and secure. So that means being politically and spiritually. Yeah. To a degree.
You're right, because I don't feel a woman needs a man to bring out her natural ability of being a woman, her feminine ways. Like, no. I believe it's supposed to be natural. So I don't see how it's a man to keep a woman in her femininity. It's her job to stay in her femininity. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. I know some women, they're always trying to say that they need a man to bring that out, but it should already come natural. And if it doesn't, then that's something wrong with you, but not the man.
That sounds about right.
So 30 more minutes. Anyone would know if we got the house.
Yeah, we'll know for sure.
And I hope we have both the House and the Senate because
I believe we will. Regardless of who wins the presidency. I think we will.
It's weird. People vote and they don't know the Constitution. Why do you vote? Why do you vote if you don't read policies? You're voting, making decisions for my children's future, and you don't know any policies or laws. Like, what is your problem?
Well, the problem is I took civics out of most of these school systems, civics classes. I remember before I graduated out of high school back in 2000 that they took civics. They took the citizenship test out of the curriculum for us to graduate.
Because I know I did have civics in high school, so I don't know.
Yeah, they took the citizenship test for the assessment out of our curriculum because it was a reading, because of math and a science assessment that we had to do in order to graduate from school. And then there was a citizenship test. They took that out. And I guess they were saying they wanted to take it out because it was a flux of, immigrants coming into the Prince George's County public schools back then, and they didn't want to upset anybody. So even my aunt and uncle knew something was up with that.
Interesting. I really do hope that
but yeah, like you said, nobody really reads and pays attention to the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. Everybody knows its meaning behind a lot of the amendments.
But hey, they read Project 2025. Okay, so they don't need to know about anything else. They read Project 2025, so they know everything because it's all in Project 2025. The media tells them all the information they need to know. They don't need to go and do any research themselves.
Yeah, the media is the most effective devil in America.
Right? It is weird to me how people choose to believe the system that they continue to say is racist or oppressive, or they choose to believe the system that one year they say, oh, they cheated, but then now let anybody say that they cheated this election. If Trump wins, and let them say that, oh, they cheated. I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all said last year was the most secure. So which is it? Like, you can't say it's the most secure and then the following few years is not the most secure. Like, what happened?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. None of that makes sense.
Well, these people, they don't make sense. But hey, they vote for us. They make decisions for us. So, I'm happy we have the Senate.
Yep.
I'm waiting for the House. I'm in the live in 30 minutes once we find out that we have the House.
Definitely.
Man, God, if we wake up in the morning and it's different, it's gonna be some crap. It's gonna be some crap. So tell me, what's your take on what Raskin said?
He's a traitor, period. I believe the statements he made alone, to me, would constitute a violation of the Insurrection Act. You're inciting a riot. You're inciting a civil war.
So
you cannot say stuff.
They're for, and Trump never said anything near what he said.
Absolutely right. And honestly, any other country, he would have been prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But, I don't know what kind of country we're running right now. Because he's protected by he's protected by both the Israel lobby and, like I said, the Democrat Party, in my opinion. So he can get away with saying stuff like that.
While we wait, I need to show this one video because, yeah, I'm getting tired of people calling America a daggone democracy.
It's not. It's a federal constitutional republic.
You know what? People don't want to do no research and learn themselves.
I mean, hell, Canada's still under the British Crown. So is Australia. So is New Zealand. Even Jamaica. A lot of people don't know that. Although most of those Caribbean islands, for the exception of Barbados. Yeah, for the exception of Barbados, is under the British Crown. They're represented by a Governor General, who's actually appointed by the British Royal Ministry of Defense, and by the King of England. So we are very lucky that we're not under that kind of colonial rule, per se. Because
people want to, some people, in my opinion, not all, they want to be victims forever. And they want us all to be slaves to this daggone system.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Sad. But that's what it is.
Very. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm about to share video, but I didn't have it already. Thank you for coming on with me tonight.
No problem. Anytime.
Oh, shit. Hold on.
America was founded as a constitutional republic.
I have a sword, huh? That's right, and people must respect it.
A constitutional republic, not a democracy. The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty. A democracy always degenerates into dictatorship, which promises government-guaranteed equality and security, but it delivers nothing but poverty and serfdom for the people it robs and rules.
For democracy.
America was founded as a constitutional republic to safeguard the liberties of the people against the tyranny of democracy or of one-man dictatorship. A democracy is a political system in which the people periodically, by majority vote at the polls, select their rulers. The rulers then have absolute power to make whatever laws they please by a majority vote among themselves. In a constitutional republic, the people also, by majority vote at the polls, select rulers who make laws by majority vote among themselves. But the rulers cannot make any laws they please because the Constitution severely restricts their lawmaking power.
America is to be a republic.
The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty. In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic and transforming it into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of American principles of government. Note the following passages from a recent article distributed by the New York Times News Service. Quote, in the United States and in other leading democracies, recent years have seen perceptible growth in executive authority. As society becomes more equalitarian, it tends increasingly to concentrate absolute power in the hands of one single man. This is a voluntary surrender of a free people escaping from freedom to one autocratic master. End quote. And note the following from Gunnar Myrdal's An American Dilemma.
Direct threat
Quote,
to the Republic.
in America, liberty often provided an opportunity for the stronger to rob the weaker. Against this, the equalitarianism in the American creed has been persistently revolting. And in the conflict between equality and liberty, equality is slowly winning. In America, conservatism has to a great extent been perverted into a cult of the Constitution. This is unfortunate since the Constitution is in many respects impractical and ill-suited for modern conditions.
Our Constitution.
The worship of the Constitution is also a most flagrant violation of the American creed. The Constitutional Convention was nearly a plot against the common people, end quote. Now, Gunnar Myrdal, a Swedish socialist, was hired by the Carnegie Corporation of New York in 1937 to direct the study of the Negro in the United States. He engaged a large staff, some of them communists and pro-communists. An American Dilemma resulted, first copyrighted in the United States in 1944. In 1954, the Supreme Court handed down its school segregation decision, which deliberately violated the Constitution, reversed a previous Supreme Court decision, and lit a fuse touching off explosive violence, which has been shattering our society ever since. The court cited An American Dilemma as one of the modern authorities on which it relied in preference to the Constitution for justification of its decision. An American Dilemma, written by a Swedish socialist, provided a basic rationale for the conversion of our free republic into an equalitarian democracy.
We don't know it by now, we're screwed.
Myrdal contends that the American Declaration of Independence, 1776, proclaimed the ideal of an equalitarian democracy because it contains the phrase, all men are created equal. 11 years later, the Constitution created not a democracy founded on the ideal of equality, but a republic founded on the ideal of liberty.
Give me liberty.
This is why Myrdal says the Constitutional Convention was nearly a plot against the common people. But he and those who parrot his ideas are either ignorant or dishonest.
Ignorant.
The Constitution was ordained specifically to safeguard the principles of liberty proclaimed by the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration's phrase, all men are created equal, means that men are equal before the law and before the Creator, regardless of their inequality in human society. The Declaration says that men are endowed with unalienable rights, and that the purpose of government is to secure these rights. The unalienable rights of man enumerated in the Declaration of Independence do not include equality, but they do include liberty, along with life and pursuit of happiness. Equality of all men in the eyes of God and before the law is a condition essential to freedom, but no other kind of equality is possible. Government efforts to achieve material equality will produce crushing tyranny, but will not make people equal. The writers of the Constitution were anxious to safeguard liberty against dictatorship, monarchy they called it. But their chief anxiety was to protect the country against democracy.
About democracy
Edmund
being at
Randolph,
stake.
delegate to the Constitutional Convention from Virginia, said the general object of the convention was to provide a cure for the follies and fury of democracy.
Threat to our democracy.
Elbridge Gerry and Roger Sherman, delegates from Massachusetts and Connecticut, urged the Constitutional Convention to create a system to eliminate the evils that flow from the excess of democracy.
Protecting our democracy.
Alexander Hamilton, delegate from New York, said, we are now forming a Republican government. Real liberty is not found in democracy. If we incline too much to democracy, we shall soon shoot into a monarchy.
Threat to our very
John
democracy.
Adams, one of the giants of the American Revolutionary period, said, democracy will envy all, contend with all, endeavor to pull down all. And when by chance it happens to get the upper hand for a short time, democracy will be revengeful, bloody, and cruel. Speaking of pure democracy, in which the people by majority vote act as their own lawmakers, instead of electing representatives to make laws, James Madison said, such democracies have ever been incompatible with personal security or the rights of property. A republic promises the cure for which we are seeking.
Will history repeat itself?
Madison, known as the father of the Constitution, knew and said that enlightened men will not always be at the helm of government to serve as proper guardians of the public weal.
What we have right now.
He knew that unlimited political power cannot safely be entrusted to the nation's elected representatives to use as a majority of them see fit, because, he said, a majority of a group of men is far more likely to be tyrannical than one man is.
Corrupt bureaucrats.
In a democracy, if a majority should develop
Ladies, it
hatred
isn't
for
my
all
decision.
blue-eyed babies and order them eliminated, the babies could be legally executed because whatever a majority wants at any given moment is supreme law of the land in a democracy.
I have to let you go.
How can liberty be safeguarded against the mindless, soulless tyranny of majority rule when government is founded on the principle of majority rule? Jefferson answered that one. In questions of power, let no more be heard of confidence in man, but bind him down from mischief with the chains of the Constitution. In short, America was founded not as a democracy, but as a constitutional republic. We pledge allegiance to the republic for which our flag stands, not to a democracy.
He's not lying.
The Constitution requires a republican form of government for all states, but does not mention democracy, and neither does the Declaration of Independence or the Bill of Rights.
He's not lying.
The Constitution is a binding contract,
Listen carefully.
enumerating limited powers which the federal government can legally exercise, prohibiting it from exercising any powers not granted in the contract. It denies federal officials the power to do whatever they claim to be necessary for the general welfare. Federal action not clearly authorized by the Constitution is illegal, even if approved by an overwhelming majority of the people, because all the elastic powers of government are left with the states.
Protect the republic.
Ultimate power to change the organic structure of government was left with the people. But the means of making changes, amending the Constitution, were carefully prescribed to militate against hasty, unwise decisions by the people. As Benjamin Franklin left the State House in Philadelphia on the closing day of the Constitutional Convention, a woman asked him what kind of government the convention had given America. And Franklin replied, "A republic, if you can keep it." Very old and very wise, Franklin saw through the mists of time to the day when Americans might trade their freedom in a constitutional republic for the promise of government guaranteed equality and security in a democracy. And beyond that, to the day when democracy inevitably degenerates into dictatorship, guaranteeing nothing but poverty and serfdom for the people it robs and rules. The American constitutional system, unique in history, enabled Americans to develop a backward continent into the most magnificent nation of all time. The system was designed to prevent both tyranny by government and reckless rebellion by the people. We must restore it and keep it.
The preceding was a statement by a concerned citizen.
Like, folks just don't understand. We are there already. We are there.
Yeah, they just don't know it yet.
Nope. Next time I hear somebody tell me that American democracy, I'm going to, because it's irritating. It's like, no, we are a republic and a constitutional republic at that.
At that, yeah.
Not hard. No updates.
No new ones,
Still
looks like.
210. Yeah, boy, if you do not stop moving or take out them daggone earphones. Man. It is. But we have the Senate. Hopefully we maintain the House. Let's see if there's any changes on this other screen. I would like us to maintain the House and win the presidency, and then it'll be cool. And then guess what? If he does anything to piss people off, oh my God, people could hold him accountable. They could hold
Yes, they can.
accountable.
Yep.
Because they do not hold Democrats accountable.
Still, yeah, so it look like 210, 230, 210.
No. Let's see what a house looks.
Ooh.
Okay. That is kind of It's close, but not close. It's like a little tie.
Yeah.
Come on, California, don't hurt my feelings. Don't make me to be too disappointed in you, Cali. I can't believe we just let's do a ballot measures.
Yeah.
All states. Okay, let me see in California. I'm not going to do all states.
Right.
Okay. Mm. Yes, yes. Dang. Okay, good. Good.
One thing I'm pretty sure Maxine Waters kept her seat. In Cali.
Yeah, I'm sure she would have. Was she?
Yes, every 2 years.
Right. I hope she didn't, but you're right. She probably would have. Because she's Maxine Waters, and nobody's going to get rid of her.
No.
I don't like that any incumbent really stayed, especially if they're a career politician. Like Sanders, if Waters ends up staying, Schiff, I don't know why he stayed. It just makes no sense to me why people will do this to themselves. It's like, why? Why do?
Right.
Oh shit! What state are you?
New Jersey.
So let's see what's in your props. Oh, you don't have any.
Yeah, key races now.
Shoot. We got 10 minutes. Take
a look at Pennsylvania. Since I work across the river anyway. Just for curiosity.
Curiosity killed the cat, sir.
Yes, it does.
You said Pennsylvania, right?
Yes.
No ballot managers. I guess your state over there don't need no ballot measures.
I don't know why
see
not.
If Texas had any. I'm sure that's a good thing because you see ours, we have some
shady stuff going on. Yeah.
They're always trying to amend our Constitution, and I try to tell people, I'm like, you don't even read the Constitution, so why you want them amended? They're gonna put something in it, and then you're gonna be mad. Texas didn't even have any ballot measures.
That's a good thing, I suppose, too.
Yeah. You saw my state. We have measures and we have props.
Right.
Basically taxes. They just want taxes to death. Taxes. I went to Subway the other day and my tax on 3 sandwiches and some chips and cookies was $30.
Oh my goodness.
No, I ain't going to this problem. And I love Subway. Nope. Okay, they're still counting. They need to hurry up and count so we can know.
You know that's not going to happen.
I know, right? We shall only hope. I hope so. I just want to know who won. We got a few more minutes. I just want to know if we maintain the House. If we maintain the House, we got the Senate, and we got Trump. So I will sleep good tonight. Until I wake up in the morning, and then I swear, let me wake up and see anything.
Well, hopefully it don't come to that.
I know, right? Yes, man.
Yeah, what was going to be an early night is not so early. That's what they were predicting, right, early night. Yeah.
They was even saying that we're not going to know until later on in the week. Well, I guess in Star State. Oh, Alaska. Oh, no, Alaska's going to be in at 10, too.
Yeah. So 10 o'clock it'll be like 3, 4 o'clock over here. Because they're 5 hours behind. Alaska, that is.
Yeah, in Nevada. So we're waiting on Alaska and Nevada. Results for Nevada expected soon. I mean, what? So you could cheat?
Exactly.
There's ridiculous that you guys can't tell us right now. I barely know in California to be blue, but hey. People can take in a sentence. That's a win. That's a win.
Yeah, I was in Philadelphia earlier today. It looked dead quiet. Like, I think it was like eerily silent. Now the stores are open and stuff like that. It's not like DC or any other place where everything was boarded up or closed, but it was real quiet today in downtown Philly.
Ooh,
for the election day. What are you wondering?
I know California.
Oh, okay.
California voted for it, so. Four minutes.
That's correct.
She's still at 210. Yes, electoral and the popular the same.
How are you doing?
Really? Wow.
Oh my God. Okay. A friend of mine just sent me a post. I guess Joe Biden Twitter account. It says that's what you get for kicking me out of the race. You stupid.
Right.
Oh my God. I gotta say that. That is crazy. Man, what if he did tweet that?
That will be definitely something for sure.
That would be hilarious.
About a couple of minutes, we'll see what's going on with the House.
That is. Okay, moving trucks with ballots arriving in Philadelphia Tabulation Center.
There you go. Here we go. The fix is in.
Right? They will wait overnight.
Mm-hmm.
They better not. They better not cheat. You know what? I am not trying to be up all night.
What?
Really, I'm not.
Gotcha.
Okay, one more minute.
Uno minuto. Uno minuto.
Man, if they do try to take this election like they did the last time,
I don't think people are going to lay down quietly. Yeah, I don't think like people laying down quietly this time. I don't think so.
right? Like, folks is ready to ride. We ride at dawn.
Yeah, a lot of patriots rising up at that point.
Exactly. Because, I mean, what do you expect for us to do? Just to continue to sit back quietly and let this? Nah. Nope. So, no. We would not just let this ride. There will be some issues.
Right. Uh-oh. Nevada's
For those joining us right now.
Nevada's leaning red.
Right. Okay. All right, Nevada. All right. I see you. You should just spread some of that pink over here to California. Man, that map is beautiful, though. It's like only just a little bit of blue. Just a little bit of blue. Everything's like baby girl pink, and then it's fire red.
Right.
Oh, my God. That's funny.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna plug this phone up.
Republicans showed up. I see Republicans. Man, we needed to dodge this bullet. Hopefully they don't do nothing tonight. Yes, we have the Senate. Hopefully we take control of the House. And yeah, it will be the business. And then we got Trump too. Oh, for sure. For sure. Right. We are aggressive and preventing us too.
All right, I'm back. I'm officially back.
Okay. I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to check on
From the
this.
Associated Press. This is an election 2024 update. Live from Washington, here is Meg Kennard.
Here we go.
Welcome back. This is a breaking alert that has just moved on the AP wire. The Associated Press has called the battleground state of Georgia for Republican Donald Trump. That adds another 16 electoral votes to the Republicans' total. It's also the second of the 7 battleground states that AP has called tonight for Trump. The other 5 remain outstanding at this hour and are too early to
At
call.
246.
As you can see on the live voting map next to me, that brings Donald Trump's electoral vote total to 246 and Kamala Harris to 210. Back with me, as he is all night, is Sagar Meghani. Okay, Sagar, we've got our second of these battleground calls. What are you telegraphing in this? What do we see?
Well, when you look at that number 246 for Donald Trump, that puts him 24 electoral votes away from being declared the winner of this race. When you look at Pennsylvania with 19 and some of these other battlegrounds that you mentioned, he is easing toward that. The Harris campaign had said just before we called this race that there are too many races too close to call. All the votes have to be counted, and that the vice president herself would not be speaking at their victory rally / party event tonight at Howard University here in Washington, alma mater. So the mood clearly dispirited there as people began just flooding out of that.
Yeah, we saw that in our live pictures here.
Just
people just
flocking
leaving,
away from there once they were told that the vice president would not be appearing. So
of course not. Of course they wouldn't stay.
Democrats, but a whole lot of happy people at Mar-a-Lago, where Donald Trump is supposed to address his supporters.
Right, and we will keep our eyes on our images coming in from all of his supporters gathered. Thank you for that, and we will bring you more AP race calls and election night updates as this evening goes on. Thank you, and stay tuned.
What's up?
Hey, get what you get.
Right? That is good.
Yes, it is.
He is at 247.
So Michigan, I think, has 17. Pennsylvania has 19. Wisconsin, I think, has 8 or 9. Nevada has like 4 or 5. And I think Arizona has like 14.
So he's at.
Yeah, so all he would have to do is win Pennsylvania and Nevada and Arizona. That would be it. It wouldn't even matter about Minnesota. Not Minnesota, but Michigan and Wisconsin. And it looks like Maine, Minnesota, and New Hampshire are still in play, because I see a lot of that's not called yet.
Man. AP hasn't called this race. Y'all don't. The media shouldn't be calling no damn races.
Right.
All right. I want to see some liberal people cry right now. They're gonna cry.
They're already doing it at Howard, of all places. They said they were fleeing Howard University. That's crazy.
They were crying at Howard. Let's see.
No, they weren't crying. They were like leaving in droves as soon as they heard Kamala wasn't speaking.
That's the only one you made. It's good.
Man, people are so stupid. This one Biden voter, she said that we're going to get what we deserve.
Wow.
Well, come on, voter, rather.
I take that as a challenge, not so much a threat.
like they allowed Joe Biden to dictate the poke, so I don't get why they would want them. It makes no sense.
What makes sense in politics these days? What makes sense?
Sure. I'm talking about with the people, the voters.
Yeah. But like you said before, voters have no real understanding of the Constitution, the way it's interpreted, and how the voting system really works.
Sure. Well, then they shouldn't vote. Oh my God.
What?
They shouldn't vote if they don't know these things. They should not be voting if they don't know these things. It just makes no sense.
I mean, if you gave everybody a test right now, the first 5 amendments of the Constitution or the Bill of Rights, it would fail. 95% of them would fail. The Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments of the Constitution.
No, I totally agree. Okay, this should already be done. We should know everything. I mean, we already know about it, so. Okay, we're done. Where's my house? Where's the house results? Okay.
I know what CNN and MSNBC are saying.
Let's see. I'm trying to find some news.
Let's see.
None of mine. Okay, here's Newsmax. Let's see what Newsmax said.
Okay.
NBC. You said we're in absentee ballots.
What'd you say?
I'm about to bring it up right now.
Absentee ballot should be for military only, or government personnel and their families overseas. That's the majority of absentee ballots are overseas.
Hold on. Is it coming up? Okay, it's loading.
Yeah.
Why is it taking so long to load?
Because it's NBC.
So back to the Democratic primary, President Joe Biden, when he was still at the top of the ticket for the Democrats, he had over 100,000 people vote uncommitted in protest of his administration's stance on the war in Gaza back in the primary. We've seen both campaigns make a concerted effort to make outreach to this community on this issue. Vice President Harris over the weekend at a rally in East Lansing, Michigan at Michigan State University on the campus singled out the war in Gaza at the top of her remarks. We saw President Trump in his final campaign rally of this cycle, potentially his last ever as a presidential candidate in Grand Rapids, Michigan, on Monday night, really into early Tuesday morning. At that event, he had a Muslim mayor, a Muslim American mayor from a community in Michigan speaking there. Both campaigns have been making a push there, but we also know Jill Stein has made a very concerted effort to reach out to that community. In fact, she had planned to be in Dearborn tonight, and we have confirmation from a group known as Abandon Harris that she did in fact spend the night, the election night celebration with that organization, and they are, we're told, happy about what they're seeing from the results. And I just want to read part of some comments that someone gave to me when I interviewed them after they voted, or around voting, I should say, in Dearborn over the weekend. And he said that as it comes to both major party candidates, he hopes that they will, quote, recognize that we don't have these people in our pockets. My vote is up for grabs. It's a wake-up call, and it certainly seems at this point that the positions of both major party candidates, or the lack thereof of a reach out in the way that some people wanted, may be influencing the vote here. And again, in a state that was so razor thin back in 2016, only around 10,000 vote margin in favor of former President Trump. We'll see if this could be the difference maker in the state with 15 electoral votes on the ground.
Here we go.
All right, Jesse, thank you. And we've got an alert here. This is Nevada, moving from too early to call to too close to call. And they're counting fast. They're 70% of the vote in, too close to call in the western battleground of Nevada. And Tom, let's zero in on what you're seeing there.
Yeah, some interesting things happening in the Silver State. If the trend is your friend in Las Vegas, the trend is your friend if you're a Republican tonight. Here's why. Look, a lot of the vote is still out in Clark County. There's still about 23% of the vote that's out in Clark County. But this margin right here at this point in the night is way too close. This is how Clark County, Vegas ended up 4 years ago. You can see it was almost a 10-point split here. It was a 10-point split there. And now we're talking about 2 percentage points tonight in Clark County. Again, a lot of the vote is out. That vote could come in and those numbers could change. Reno, Washoe County, more reflective of the entire state vote. This is the battleground county. Biden won this in 2020 tonight. Trump is on top. Still, a lot of the vote is out. He's only on top by about 200 votes, so not much to say there. But what we can point out in the Trump counties, like Elko County here, 64% in. Trump is overperforming tonight. He was at 76. He's almost at 80% right now. And Democrats aren't going to find votes here. I mean, these numbers aren't going to swing a lot in the Democrats' way. This is Trump country here in the middle of Nevada. Douglas County is another. Douglas County. This is another Trump barometer that we watch. Again, overperforming. 66% of the vote is in. He was at 63 in 2020. He's now at 66. But the big story for me right now, and a lot of the vote is out.
Vegas.
Clark County. I mean, this is 3/4 of Nevada right here. If Democrats hit certain margins where they're 50,000 or 60,000 votes ahead of Republicans, Republicans will never catch up in Nevada. Again, there's a lot of vote that's still out. We can find out exactly how much is out. 223,000 votes. So still a lot out there. Democrats won't get all of those, but they'll get a large chunk. Again, this is still a little too close this early in the night, guys.
No, it's not.
All right, Tom, thanks very much.
It's
not.
not.
To Steve Patterson.
It's not.
He is in Reno, Nevada, where they had long lines into the night. How are things going there now?
You know, Lester, really an experience, a process that is sort of winding down in most counties across the country is only just spooling up here in Nevada. As you mentioned, you know, voting really ended just a few minutes ago with some of these counties sort of ending the process. People were still in line hours.
I'm shaking my head.
Closed. And so the count couldn't really
No reason why it should take this long at all. No reason.
Obviously, and it's still too close to call, too early to call.
Unless they're trying to cheat.
Several counties still need returns to come back. It is still very early on in the process. But we saw almost immediately Republicans sort of jumping out to this early ballot lead when it came to turnout. That was sort of the reading on the wall that I think a lot of folks had. And specifically in those counties in which, you know, Davis is pointing out that are red, they're going to stay red. This sort of the math doesn't change in those areas. There's really only 2 population centers in this state, which is Washoe and which is Clark, Vegas and Reno. If she doesn't build up a big enough firewall that we see these returns happen over the next few hours, then it's going to be very tough for Democrats to make up that ground. I spoke to both campaigns. They both feel like they still have a good shot. Obviously, Democrats and Republicans both aiming for another subgroup here, nonpartisan voters.
Nevada, Wisconsin,
huge segment of the electorate here in Nevada is larger than Republicans, larger than Democrats. Of course, they all have their opinions about which way they break, different leanings, and I think both campaigns feel like they're seizing on that. They feel like they know their voters in that group, but that's what makes it so notoriously hard to read in this state. Which way are these nonpartisan voters going? And I think that's sort of what we're going to be focused on within the next few hours. It may not be until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock tonight before we start seeing legitimate, solid returns that'll tell us one way or another how the state is going to go.
All right, Steve, thanks very much.
That's Mountain Time, too, by the way. So even later here on the East Coast, let's go to Garrett Haake. He is at Trump headquarters
crazy.
in West Palm. Any word on whether we will hear from the former president?
We will, Savannah, and soon, I'm told by a campaign official. Donald Trump is on his way across from Mar-a-Lago to here in West Palm Beach, and he is expected to speak soon. Now, what soon means is a little bit of a open to interpretation.
Minnesota, South County.
Trump himself made it very clear earlier today. He does not have a lot of patience with this vote counting process. He wants this to be over tonight. He thought earlier today it would be over tonight. It was his desire to speak tonight. Now you see that picture breaking up a little bit as he makes his way across the bridge to West Palm Beach. This ballroom is full. Secret Service starting to kind of close the doors, urge people to get in. They're cranking up the music, Savannah. I do not think it will be long until we hear from former President Trump.
And that will be an interesting situation because if assuming the status quo exists, he will not have been called as the next president.
Well, we will recall that he declared victory in 2020 when, in fact, he lost. So we'll see what his verbiage is here. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, I've been speaking to some of his allies, and there's sort of this divide about how
he won. Like, what's the problem?
We're saying you should be very aggressive. You should get out there and claim victory if, in fact, you think that's where this is headed. Others are saying, look, let's just walk a very fine line. I'll be really curious to see what he says, because this election, unlike 2020, the numbers are on his side. And again, we still have a lot of votes that need to be counted, so we don't know what the ultimate conclusion is going to be. But it's notable he's coming out in Harris.
Yeah, to be clear, in 2020, he declared victory. The race hadn't been called one way or the other. He hadn't lost yet. He lost 5 days later.
You got some new information, Garrett?
Well, Lester, I just want to add that Trump was asked about this earlier today, and I think we have two things from him and from his campaign. First of all, his campaign has made it very clear that he would speak when they felt he was well on his way to 270 electoral votes. They were very clear that they didn't feel compelled to wait until the race had been called, but when they felt confident in his path, he would speak. And so I think that's what we're going to see now. Secondly, Trump was asked today what his message is going to be to the millions, tens of millions of people who will have voted for Kamala Harris if he speaks after a victory. Would he give a unifying message? Trump said that he would, but described this as a broken country and said it would be important to try to fix it. A unifying message has not been Trump's strength, candidly, across his political career. But he and his campaign are keenly aware of the expectations of this moment.
Are you sure about that? Because he's done plenty of unifying.
Thanks.
And stay with us. Our NBC News election coverage returns right after we take a quick break.
246, 194.
Well, they've got something different. Everybody's gonna have something a little bit different.
True. Yeah, AP still got 214, 247.
Right.
We shall see. What's the end over here?
Of course, they're making bomb threats. That's crazy.
Who's making bomb threats?
No, I guess different polling centers across different states, they were making bomb threats.
God.
Mm-hmm.
It's just ridiculous. I think we're going to get the House.
Sure do. Bernie Moreno.
And if we do, that would be a win.
Mm-hmm.
That will be a win if we get the House. I mean, if we keep the House, not get the House. But keep it.
Now, I wonder what's going to happen when Trump gets elected. He talked about a deportation operation. I don't know how that's going to turn out.
That's if he sticks to it.
Mm-hmm. I think he is, but the thing about it, it's going to be difficult. I think it'll be pretty difficult.
How so? Because he won't be able to find him.
No, it's not the fact they won't find him. Some of these states won't cooperate with him because they're going to feel some type of way. It's going to be politics or human rights per se.
True. I don't know. It's not my business. They shouldn't have came over here illegally. If you want to come in here legally. Take the steps that you need to. Don't just
exactly.
Legal. No. So no. Let's look at the Trump rally. Oh goodness. Are they back in? It makes no sense that they can't tell us everybody right now.
No, they can't. It's crazy, but they do it all the time.
And we allow it.
Mm-hmm.
And we allow it.
They're going to get away with what we allow as a country.
Glenn.
It's by our decision desk as too close to call. 85,000 vote difference in Minnesota. Tom, we'll send it back over to you.
Yep, we're going to be looking at Arizona right now. The closest margin in 2020. At this hour, we have about 53% of the vote in. It's really tied up. It's pretty much 50-50 right now. Trump's slightly ahead by 16,000 votes, but it's still very early. Maricopa County.
Yeah, Maricopa County. Mm-hmm.
You want to win here to win the state. Harris is on top right now. We can compare her to 4 years ago. But again, half the vote is out in Maricopa County. But she's kind of where she wants to be. She's doing a little better in Pima County. Again, half the vote is out. But she's overperforming there than where Biden was 4 years ago. But when we go to the Trump counties, okay, places like Yuma, Trump is overperforming. 52% in 2020. Again, there's only 35% of the vote in, but he's at 64%. And we can actually, if we move the state over here, right. I'm going to pop over all the red counties, and you can see how he's overperforming. 68. Now at La Paz, 71. We go a little further, Mojave, 75. He's at 76. We'll come over here to Navajo, 53. He's at 61. Still half the votes out over there. Finally, 58 and 60%. So you can see, I want to show you an interesting stat, though. So remember where this race is right here, right? It's neck and neck. Let's go to the Senate race here, and it's a much different story. Look how much ahead Gallego is over Kari Lake right here. So you could have that split ticket voter effect in Arizona happening right now. Again, Gallego's at 52%, Kari Lake's at 46%. When we come back to the president's race, 50-49. So you can see what's happening there. We even heard Jen Psaki talking about this, right? There could be voters who, you know, the border's important to them. The economy is obviously important to them as well. Now, and they could be picking Trump for the presidency, but moving Gallego for the Senate, guys.
I think the abortion ballot measure passed as well
exactly.
in Arizona. So, you know, voters aren't always sticking to the categories people want to put them in. Can we see the Nevada Senate race? So if Gallego gets the Democratic seat, that's a hold for the Democrats, and Jackie Rosen trying to go back to the Senate and hold that seat. How's it looking,
so
Nevada?
This is neck and neck right now. And Dems thought that they were going to have this, you know, this was a lean Democrat. They didn't think this was going to be a tough race for them. This is a little tough right now. But again, a lot of the vote is still out in Clark County. Let's see. We can see how compared to Biden. She's slightly underperforming Biden. But again, there's more than 20% of the vote out in Clark County. I don't want to make too much assumptions about Nevada without sort of a majority, all of Clark County in, or at least 90%.
Telling you, something's not right.
More reflective of the entire state.
Something's amiss.
Neck and neck there. I would say, I think it's fair to say at this point with the vote where it is, Sam Brown is overperforming. Jackie Rosen, of course, the incumbent here. Not great news for Democrats right now, but it's still a lot of the vote is out in Las Vegas, and that's what's going to really decide this election, Savannah.
Yeah, and we're waiting for the Montana Senate seat as well, where John Tester is looking to hold on. You can check in on that, report back. Oh, no, look, you're so fast on that board now. What do you say?
Tim Sheehy, look at this. The incumbent John Tester is down. This was the most expensive Senate race, I think maybe ever, in Montana here. This was a huge fight, and we only have about 30% in, so we can't really draw too much from here. But we can see how, this is a very red state. Trump was at 56. He's performing at 51 right now, so he's sort of underperforming. But look, it's still early in the night. There's still 70% of the vote that's out in Montana. But this is one we're going to be watching closer. There's still a lot of counties that haven't even reported vote yet. So still very early in Montana, but the Republican Tim Sheehy is on top.
Wisconsin, Michigan.
Tom, thanks very much. We're back with our panel now, along with our guests, Claire McCaskill, former Democratic Senator from Missouri, and Mark Lauder, Strategic Communications for the 2020 Trump campaign. Good to have you both here with us tonight. Claire, let me start with you. We may hear, Donald Trump sooner than later. What can he say that will make it a less bitter moment for those on the left?
Oh boy, that's a really hard question. First of all, do I think he will? Will he try to reach out and be a unifier and try to acknowledge that this country is divided?
Nation.
Incredibly divided.
He can.
That's not who he is. That's not how he got elected. And I don't know him. You could probably answer this better than I could, but it doesn't seem like to me that this would be the moment where he would not try to be his authentic self, which is I'm a marauder. I'm a disruptor. I'm somebody who I'm going to be your fighter against everything you hate about government. I think he'll stay with that kind of theme tonight.
Let me ask Mark, is that how he ran?
He gets elected.
Stretch one more question further. Has he made the process more coarse in general? That's the key to getting.
Are we in an election or a selection?
Obviously, he's got his own unique style, and he speaks in his language. But I also think when we were talking about this earlier, I think Jim Messina was talking about it, that Democrats had made the decision to basically just campaign to be anti-Trump. And for the last 10 years, it's been primarily anti-Trump. I remember coming down the stairs with him as president-elect the first time in 2016. And I thought actually he gave a much more open speech to bringing the country together, because that was his first moment speaking as president-elect in 2016 in the wee hours over here at the Manhattan Hilton. And so it'll be interesting to see if he's going to hit on his campaign themes.
I mean, let's remember we have seen him on the national stage for 8 years. I mean, I covered him in the White House. We covered him in the White House together. We covered him in the campaign. We know who this person is. He's been president before. He's been a presidential candidate before. And we know what his message tends to be. He's done it over and over in this campaign. And that is a message that is darker, that casts America as a dangerous place, a place that only he can fix. Somebody who, as we talk about rhetoric, just called Nancy Pelosi.
That's because it's true. He can only want to probably fix it.
Let's just remember that is, I think, some of the tone. Now, we may see tonight him look to make I'm not even going to say the word pivot, but perhaps extend an olive branch. Maybe. I mean, listen, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do think there's a pattern of history.
To that point, I mean, remember after the horrific assassination attempt against him, the Republican National Convention, and all of the reporting, in fact, everything that he was saying was,
He said it.
He said it. Yes, he said, I am going to deliver a unifying speech. And it was for part of the speech, but then it quickly became a very familiar, almost speech that you would hear on the campaign trail.
Well, that's what he ran for, and is perhaps going to prevail on that very way of being. I don't know that he would have any incentive to change unless, he had felt in the moment some magnanimity towards.
I will make one bold prediction, though, Savannah.
Yeah.
I predict that he won't say that anybody cheated.
Well, remember, though, even after he won election in 2016, he still made unfounded claims of voter fraud. So win or lose, it is something that he has a pattern of doing.
I remember in days after the 2016 election, he and his staff summoned network anchors, executives for an off-the-record meeting at Trump Tower, and it was off the record, so I won't go deeply into it. But to say we were under the impression that
I see people from all walks of life at that Trump rally down there in Mar-a-Lago.
You got chewed out.
You got chewed
out. I'm like, let me leave. I wasn't there.
True.
On that one.
We were kind of
That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, just to speak to that, I mean, again, we don't have to rehash all of it here, and we're still waiting for Pennsylvania to be called, but he is somebody who has called journalists the enemies of the people. Just at a rally recently, he talked about being surrounded by bulletproof glass, and that if somebody wanted to come after him in a attempted assassination again, they'd have to shoot through the media first, and he'd be okay with that. His campaign tried to suggest that's not what he said, but that is the kind of language that we have heard from him consistently.
And remember how he launched his campaign vowing retribution. And in recent weeks and days, we've heard him talk about his political rivals as being the enemy from within. His vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance, has spent a lot of time answering for that in interviews that he has done.
Well, just to bring everybody up to date, 1:30 on the East Coast, and we are awaiting Donald Trump, who's expected to speak at the Trump headquarters in West Palm Beach, Florida. Battlegrounds remain to be called, and so there still is a narrow path, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania for Kamala Harris. But the trend lines, and the reason you're hearing this tone from Democrats and Republicans alike, is the trend lines are indicating that it will be a Trump victory, but this has not been called yet. So you have the audience there waiting to hear from the former president. These are the uncalled battleground states. Those are the trend lines that we're talking about. Pennsylvania, a healthy Trump margin there with 94% of the vote in. Those states out west, Arizona and Nevada, we may not know about those for several hours now, and we are waiting. Wisconsin and Michigan kind of bringing up the rear there in terms of these Midwest, East Coast time zones. So we will continue to follow this, but Kamala Harris, I should mention, has gone home for the night. Cedric Richmond, who is the co-chair of the Harris campaign, came out and addressed the crowd at Howard University in Washington, D.C., letting them know that she would address them and address the country, he said, tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning. Well, it is Wednesday morning here on the East Coast. But in a few hours from now.
Yeah, and we should, it's worth noting in 2016, after his victory, he appeared in the 2 a.m. hour to make his remarks. And we are in the 1 a.m. hour, and we saw that motorcade a bit earlier crossing the bridge in West Palm. But we don't have any timing as to when we may hear.
Well, we know we won't hit traffic because of the hour and also the motorcade, but we are expecting him. And we've been talking about, what tone he might strike. And also, Mark Lauder, you were there, you know him. Let's just pretend he listens to his advisors. What would you advise him to say tonight?
I would outline what we have to get done. And first off, we have 74 days, if I'm going off my quick math, before you actually take the oath of office. So I would obviously want to get right to work. You would obviously praise your staff. Unlike what you would normally do in a traditional speech this way, you will have not talked to your opponent unless something strange happens between now and then, and she calls. They reach out and call. So you're not going to be able to say anything along those lines. And then ultimately, I think, especially if it looks right now, you may not hold, but you're leading in the national popular vote. That's something that you have not done. It's something only one Republican president has done this century. You have a mandate. And
what is the mandate? Because he didn't run to the center. He ran to the base, and the base, it seems poised to elect him. So what would the mandate be if you're him? Is it the mass deportation? Is it, the tariffs, for example? He's been very clear about his policies.
I think first and foremost, it'll be energy, the economy, extending the tax cuts, and then I think you will get into illegal immigration. I think you will get into and some of those other areas. But ultimately, I think that's first where you go. Also will depend on if you have the House. If you have the House and the House comes with you on this, then you have obviously both chambers. You'll have unified control. That changes a lot.
He will effectively be a one-term president. What does that mean in terms of how he would govern?
You have 8 months to get something done before they start running for re-election?
Pretty much.
No, in reality, you obviously you're going to have your 4 years, but as we both know,
Man, they did all they could.
You get that 100 days, maybe that 6 months before Congress goes and
Right.
starts acting in their interest for their re-election, their campaign interests. You're going to have what I assume would be a primary to be your successor, and then obviously the Democrats will have their primary.
Claire, how would you see that? How would you see that rolling?
I see Tulsi running as Republican in
Depends on whether or
2028.
not the House is controlled by the Democrats. Remember when Trump got elected last time, he had
Mark
the
my
House
words.
and the Senate. He had
Tulsi
all
Gabbard
three.
will run in 2028.
he struggled. He got the tax cuts done, but that was really the only, he didn't repeal Obamacare. He didn't build the wall. He didn't do a lot of the things
Or
he had promised to
DeSantis.
do, even though he had all 3 houses. So I worry that if the Democrats get the House, then whatever he doesn't get done
What do
will
you
be
say?
Hakeem Jeffries' fault,
I said that would be
as
interesting.
opposed to his inability to produce on the promises he's made. But if we don't take the House, then I think he's got a tall order. And I think he's got to do the tariffs. I don't, and he doesn't need Congress for that. He can
No,
do
you
the
don't.
tariffs right
It's
away.
an executive order.
I've been hearing from my friends that are in Europe. They're very worried about the lines of those countries being redrawn fairly quickly.
You mean Ukraine?
Yes, and more. Orban and other autocrats that now will feel this is a green light. I think NATO will be greatly diminished. I think our European allies will be very, very nervous. So that's another whole piece of this. So
That means they may pay their 2% GDP then.
to know whether the Democrats take the House before we start speculating too much. And part of me, I want the Democrats to take the House because I think there'll be a check. On the other hand, they also will be a scapegoat.
Well, let's be clear. If the Republicans hold on to the House, they have the Senate. If they win the White House, you have an ideological 6-3 Supreme Court. You will have the Republicans in charge of every branch of government in this country.
And not to raise this specter, but it is possible that if Donald Trump wins another term, if that happens, and we have not called Pennsylvania or the race yet, so big ifs here, but if that happens, you could maybe see some court retirements if there is a Republican Senate, Republican House, Republican in the White House as well, and then the court could become even more conservative. Again, potentially, I don't want to go too far down that road. Let's see how the night shakes out, but since you brought it up, Savannah, just to throw that in.
Well, that brings us to Tom Yamas and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
We've been talking so much about those collar counties. I want to talk about the I-222 corridor, and I know we have some PA homies in the house tonight. I'm sorry if my highway is not exact, but it kind of cuts through here. And I want to talk about this because when we look at the counties and how Trump's doing here, this is where the Hispanics are. This is a Latino corridor, if you will, in Pennsylvania, because I want to show you how important this is. So when we start, we can start right here. We'll start in York County, overperforming in York County. As we move up, Lancaster, about even there. We'll keep going. Berks County here, overperforming again, almost all the votes in there. We go to Lehigh now. She's underperforming. Harris is underperforming from Biden. Trump is overperforming. And we finish over here in Northampton again, Easton, PA. Again, he flips this county, overperforming there. And I want to show you the polls, guys, right? This was the exit poll that sort of, I don't want to say it surprised us, but this told us that the story was going to be different tonight. This is Trump support among Latino voters in Pennsylvania. Look at this number, 2020, 27%. In 2024, 41%. It was just not Latino voters. And again, I know this could change. These are early exit polls. So look at the breakdown here.
The majority of Latino voters vote for Trump are Puerto Ricans and Dominicans.
There from 2020 to 2024. And again, that Latino margin, that spread right there. And I bring this up because we were talking a lot about that Madison Square Garden rally, that joke that was made about Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans and how it would affect the race and how it would affect what happened in Pennsylvania. So far, we have not seen it have any tremendous effect. Again, we'll get all the data post-Thanksgiving and we'll be able to sort of figure all that out. But right now, it looks like it's not affecting those Latino counties in Pennsylvania. I do want to get a check-in on how the collar counties are doing around Philadelphia. And we'll, again, Biden's number, where Trump is. This is statewide. We're going to start in Chester County. Harris is underperforming, still about 15% of the vote left out there. Montgomery County here, again, underperforming. We come down here to Delco. 62%, 61%, almost about the same. But again, if you want to win Pennsylvania, you have to be at the same mark as Biden or higher. And then Philadelphia right now, this is not a great number for her. This is pretty bad. Again, 15% of the vote, more than 15% of the vote is still out there. So she could claw that back. And I don't want to forget Bucks County here. This is the big one tonight when we talk about the collar counties in Pennsylvania, because Democrats need to win this. They need to win all the collar counties. Biden at 51 in 2020. Tonight, Harris underwater at 48, and Trump up at 50. He may possibly flip Bucks County. 75% of the vote is in. Hallie Jackson's the Bucks County expert here, so I'll leave it to her.
No, correct me if I'm wrong. It was Biden County in 2016 as well, right? By a slim margin.
It was Clinton County.
I'm sorry, Democratic County, of course.
Yeah, but this is the only collar county. Yeah, Hallie, you're right. This is the only collar county Republicans thought they had a chance in, or could at least claw back some of the vote, maybe peel back some of the Democratic support. And tonight it looks like it's happened. We're still waiting on a quarter of the vote. But that's a strong, when you see a number like that in Bucks County, you know it's going to be a tough night for Democrats.
And as we talk about the education gap here in this race, I will just point out that Bucks County does have a bigger education gap than you see in some of those other Philadelphia suburban counties as well. You have an area like Lower Bucks, you see more of sort of that blue collar voter there.
And the fact that Erie
what is that supposed to mean? Why are you trying to stereotype people?
And that's why Democrats who are texting me are saying all of these
crazy.
are just not headed in the right.
Well, I mean, Joe Biden.
Did you just hear what she just said?
Picked up, he did better, with in some of those rural places. He, is sort of from Scranton or Scranton adjacent. Grew up there, but then obviously went on to have Delaware as his home state. But I mean, he did better in some of these rural places that we're talking about.
Well, what was interesting is that when Biden won it, when Obama won it, he drew out a very large African American population and vote in the Philadelphia area. Yes, did well in the collar counties, but Biden really won it because of the collar counties, and that's what made his win in Pennsylvania so different.
Everyone's speechless here. I guess it really is 1:40 in the morning, except for they're not speechless. They're cheering there at Trump headquarters at West Palm. Yeah, I think we must be getting close to that moment with Donald Trump. It's okay. We saw it coming, so I think.
Garrett Hankins there.
Yeah, he's there. We can listen to him and hear what the crowd is hearing.
Yeah. Savannah, I can tell you right now, the anticipation far outpaces the available information about what Donald Trump will say and when he will say it. They're broadcasting another network in here, and we're getting a lot of cheers from a crowd who is anticipating a victory speech. I can tell you on the platform behind me, you probably can't quite see it, but the glass is up. The teleprompter glass is up for prepared remarks. But I think it's possible that part of the delay here may be that those remarks don't yet exist. Trump told reporters this morning after he voted that he hadn't written anything yet. He hadn't written a concession speech.
What the heck?
A victory speech. He is something of a superstitious person, and it's possible he did not want to put anything on paper early, not knowing the results. For right now, I'm like tapping through my phone. We're reaching out to campaign sources, but I think part of the problem is Trump himself may not be entirely clear what message he wants to give to the country when he decides to step forward and give it. Savannah?
All right, Garrett, thank you. Let's go over to Peter Alexander at Harris headquarters, where they're shutting it down. Cedric Richmond just came out a little earlier saying that we will not hear from Kamala Harris tonight, but we will tomorrow. Any further word there, Peter?
Yeah, I think most accurate to say that we are shutting it down. It's just 2 o'clock here. We're the only ones left. A matter of reporters here.
Who's going to try again?
Their gear in anticipation of the vice president returning to Howard University.
I don't think so.
As we were told. I guess it's later today.
I don't think so. They'll find somebody else.
Not just to her supporters, but to a national audience as well. Obviously,
I don't think Kamala's going to try again in 2028.
Based on the expressions we saw, the information we're getting from those in and around the Harris campaign, it doesn't feel like a winning night for them. A successful campaign.
I think the Democrats are out of people.
From those top donors who were gathered.
Their only chance would have been if she didn't switch over. Would have been Tulsi.
This location, not dissimilar to Hillary Clinton back in 2016, when it was one of her aides who came out and said she wouldn't be speaking, that she would deliver remarks the next day. Ultimately, it was then when she delivered a concession.
I think they're out of people.
Close eyes on Pennsylvania, but
out of notables, anyway.
There are key demographics and critical counties and crucial states where they're just underperforming.
Peter, I'll ask you to stand by right now. We have another call in Nebraska in the split electoral votes. NBC News projects that Donald Trump will win 4 of the 5. There's the difference. This is District 3. Donald Trump, the projected winner. And you can see 58% of the vote is in there.
And District 2 remains outstanding. That's the one in Omaha, that's adjacent district that usually goes blue and is expected to tonight as well. I think we await District 2. Think we just saw that.
And you can see Donald Trump drawing closer to the magic 270 that would put him over the top and hand him the White House once more.
Yeah, we await his comments. Stay with us. NBC News election night coverage continues right after this short break.
Yes.
Yeah, so like I said, I think the Democrats are out of people in 2028. I think they're out of people. Because everybody else is like over 70.
He said over 70.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see. We shall see.
And who they gonna go with? Kathy Hochul of New York. I mean, Gretchen Whitmer. Those are the only two I can see run in 2028. Jay Inslee, Washington State.
We shall see. We still got to get to January.
Yeah. Oof. I shudder to think.
Right. Because they're not going to take this very well. They're going to be mad. But I'm happy.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't do nothing and we could just go to bed. And the results will be kind of sort of still the same. But if they, excuse me, if they do anything stupid, it's going to be trouble. Yep.
I mean,
becoming the 47th president.
It will. They're talking about some teleprompters. He ain't doing no teleprompter. He never does teleprompter.
Anticipation that the former president will speak here tonight, and so there is great excitement.
I don't know why they.
Let me hand it over.
I don't know why they think we'd be teleprompter in the first
We'll
place.
talk about the other big headline of the night, and that's the balance of power.
Yeah, Lester, Republicans cheering for this as well because NBC News
Kamala,
has projected that Republicans will take control of the Senate after claiming 2 seats. Let's take a look at some of the races, though, that we're still watching. Let's start in Pennsylvania. Senator Bob Casey looking for his 4th term in the Senate. This race, too close to call. His challenger is McCormick, and let's look. You can see right there.
McCormick was winning.
41 so far. So there you have Senator Bob Casey trying to
McCormick was winning
from Dave McCormick. Let's go to Wisconsin now. Tammy Baldwin looking for another term in the Senate. She is getting a real run for her money from real estate and CEO executive Eric Lofty. Let's go over to Nevada now. Jackie Rosen. A couple of months ago, it looked like this was going to be safe for her. This race now too close to call as she is trying to fend off a challenge from Sam Brown. Let's go to Michigan now, this open seat, Alyssa Slotkin and Mike Rogers fighting for this Senate seat in the great state of Michigan as we wait for a call at the top of the ticket in that state.
So we already know that the Senate is in Republican hands, and now where the question is of the margins, and the remaining incumbents holding on to Democratic seats have always been on defense there, but those are very tight races, and in the case of Nevada, tighter than I think was expected.
Way tighter than expected in Nevada, and quite frankly, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, all of these races have gotten much tighter in these recent weeks. But look, if former President Donald Trump does, in fact, win the White House, having a Republican Senate undoubtedly would pave the way for him to clear at least part of his agenda potentially more easily. Now, of course, he might be doing Democratic.
The Republican has got election source, Republican Senate source, they're feeling pretty darn good about tonight.
Well, we have a few seconds here. We await the appearance of Donald Trump in that hall in West Palm Beach, Florida. We see a celebratory atmosphere there. People cheering and hugging, and it looks like a victory party. And when the former president steps out, perhaps that's exactly what it will be. However, NBC News has not projected or made those final calls. Let's take a pause right here and give a chance to other stations to share.
Second administration, your thoughts 30,000 feet of this win.
Indictments, 2 assassination attempts.
Welcome back to NBC News election night coverage, 2024 election. This is the scene at Trump headquarters in West Palm Beach. Celebration has broken out. The crowd now eagerly awaiting what they hope and believe will be an appearance by Donald Trump. The stage is set. We understand the glass teleprompter has been installed around the podium, so all seems to be in readiness.
By the way, we saw the crowds cheering a few moments ago. Another network has called the race for Trump, which explains the cheers inside the headquarters. We have not. Just a reminder, our decision desk, which is in Philadelphia, crunches those numbers. And the motto is they don't need to be first, they need to be right. And we really do exercise an abundance of caution.
Somebody I'm looking for here, and I don't know if he's in this convention center or if he's still at Mar-a-Lago with former President Trump, is Elon Musk, because he potentially may have ended up being a factor in this race if, in fact, we do call Pennsylvania for former President Trump. He created this super PAC, put a ton of money behind Donald Trump in this state, did that very controversial $1 million a day giveaway to people who would sign a petition arguing for, First and Second Amendment rights, et cetera. I think it was something like $118 million that he poured into this race behind former President Trump and has become a very close ally of his. It speaks to what we've been talking about. Young men, there's this picture, Mar-a-Lago, Elon Musk, Dana White, UFC guy, out there with Donald
By the way,
Trump.
Speaking of, first of all, Elon Musk hours ago tweeted, or X, or whatever you call it now, game, set, match. So he's already been feeling that victory. But let's talk about RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Has stated that Donald Trump promised to give him everything having to do with health care in the government. So we'll see if he keeps that promise.
And he is, again, a very controversial figure here.
I know he will.
Children's health. He's big in the sort of anti-vaccine movement. Former President Trump has said just recently that he would be in favor of him sort of being in position. Remember, there's also this interesting dynamic where RFK ended up on the ballot in one of these blue wall states. So you saw former President Trump traveling with him to Michigan and Wisconsin. It seems like to remind people, no, he's with me, right? Put my name at the top of the ticket, not RFK Jr.'s, but he has been brought into the Trump fold as well.
Well, Elon Musk is so fascinating because he was actually in charge of part of the Get Out the Vote effort. And Trump campaign officials, and I interviewed Caroline Levitt today and asked her about this. She said, look, it's original. This is what we're doing.
John Voight.
The campaign is also
John Voight.
But the bottom line, it seems to have worked, at least in some of these states that we've called so far.
We just saw the actor John Voight among those gathered waiting to hear from President Trump. I think we have former President Trump, Garrett Haake at Trump headquarters in West Palm. Are you getting any guidance on the timing?
Savannah, I've got nothing but bad news for you. I have no guidance. And in fact, Trump campaign officials who are texting me back have no guidance. So we're all in a bit of a waiting period here for the former president, I think, to make the decision to come speak. You mentioned another network having called this race. Obviously, not a decision we have made. NBC News not making any projection, but I do think that will weigh on Trump's thinking now that his audience here in the room believes he has won. I've not laid eyes on Elon Musk yet, but I have seen Tucker Carlson, who was part of the sort of core group of folks at the Mar-a-Lago party earlier this evening. Everyone who was there has decamped for the convention center. So really, the stage is set for Donald Trump's moment whenever he chooses to take it. And this crowd is ready. I've been watching people who in many cases have been here for hours and enjoying the cash bar quite thoroughly.
NBC don't want to call it because they know
and dancing along to
won.
the program.
That's what I think.
Ready for a victory celebration that for them has been a very long time coming.
Hey, Garrett, let me ask you. You know, we've been reporting for weeks that this is going to be a tie, and we've seen what Democrats now see. Yeah. Was there any expression of pessimism? Was there concern that there, but for the grace of God go I? Republicans could have gone in the same direction as the Dems.
When I talked to people within the Trump campaign the last couple of days, there were a lot of nerves because what they were trying to do was very much unproven. They had a theory that they could expand the electorate, they could turn out all these new voters, they could convince young men to show up and vote, and it was totally unproven. And, you know, the Trump campaign ethos in general, from the top down, is to be confident, borderline cocky, until you are proven wrong. And so that's mostly what they project. But in these last couple of days, they saw the same polls we did. They saw, I think, the vice president's closing message. They saw Donald Trump at a lot of his rallies kind of failing to deliver the knockout blow with his own closing message. And they did get a little nervous. But their theory of the case was always that this electorate existed and they needed to prove it to be true. And I can tell you I have gotten several text messages from Trump campaign staffers and major donors basically saying, "See who told you so."
They're projecting.
I mean, for them, it was always going to be either a close Kamala Harris victory in their view, or a sweep potentially of the battleground states.
Yeah, let's find out what's
theory
going
was
on.
right. They have felt minute by minute and hour by hour tonight that the evidence is pointing towards their theory being right, and we won't know till all the votes are counted. But certainly,
those are already
it's
counted.
starting to look that way as we approach 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we are approaching 2 o'clock in the morning and waiting to hear from the former president, or some words when we might hear from him. Again, this race has not been called by this network. This network's still going through its processes, and
This
when it's
network
ready to
is so
speak, our
confused.
decision desk will
This
speak.
network, yeah,
where the
is
numbers are and where the
scared.
mood music is, if you will. I think one of the things that is on people's minds is who will be, if in fact former President.
Yeah, so what you call that? All right, we're going to Trump. Oh. Oh, come on. And AP back to loading. Everybody's loading.
Maybe YouTube shadow banning AP too. Who knows?
Right? Everybody is upset that the girl didn't win. Okay.
He's about his personality. Good luck with that. You don't get this strength and this resolve and this toughness. You don't get those policies without that. But I want to say this. It's on this phone that Huma Abedin placed the call 2:30 a.m. on November 9th, 2016. And on the other line was Secretary Clinton to concede the race to Donald Trump on my phone. I handed it to him, and I said to Vice President-elect Mike Pence, make sure Hillary actually concedes. She did. And President Trump was gracious to them, too. They came to the luncheon at the Capitol after the inauguration. The Obamas and the Clintons were there. I was there to see it myself. And then something just changed. The Washington Post said, let's impeach him at noon, 2 minutes after he's inaugurated. Melania wrote about this in her book. So, Harold, I hear you. I hope everybody can unify. But I got to tell you, my friend, I think it starts with your party and not mine.
Fair enough.
Right?
They had this guy in a
Exactly.
courtroom. He's not an indoor cat. They have him impeached. They have him. And whether people think that was justified or not, now is a good time to respect the will of the people. Forget about us, the will of the people.
I agree with you. I'm just saying be a gracious winner and let's move the country
Yes,
forward.
but he
I
will.
agree. And I know you will. That was my only point.
I heard a gracious winner today when I talked to him. I really did. He's known for a while. He's going to, I wrote a piece on FoxNews.com October 11th saying he's going to have a narrow landslide. I think he's felt that for a while, but he wanted to go and earn it.
And I even think the
And she
people
didn't
around
earn
him have to be gracious too. I think he will. I
that's
don't
a
know him as well as you, but
different
I
issue.
hope
Yeah,
the people around him
question.
can be gracious as
That's a
well.
different
Well,
question.
we can always hope.
Yeah, well, that comes from the top.
Once more, I just want to say how much money was spent on this election. $15.9 billion with a bill.
Wow.
B, if you spend $1,000 a day for 2,740 years, that would be $1 billion. It was 16 times that. what has been spent on every race, presidency, the whole deal. $16 billion. And here we are.
What is that, a check you can write to for every American? What did you
about
say?
$50. It's about 40.
I want my $50.
But I just want to say, every presidential
That's
race
crazy.
has a medium. You know, you go back to television, cable.
Yeah.
This was, in some ways, a podcast experience of a campaign. And those are free to go on podcasts. And you wonder how much of that money really needed to be spent when there's a lot of ways to reach people. But I think it's really interesting and something we'll be talking about a lot in terms of the reach of these endorsements.
You know what I was struck by? The
Logan
final
and Musk and the rest of
the
them.
final ads where
They were excellent.
They talked about making America great again, but then ending with the assassination attempt and that fist in the air, the iconic image, and the fight.
Absolutely.
Warrior president.
And it worked.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, toughest son of a gun we ever saw. And that was the last note we see in that ad. And I think, I think for whatever you think of the guy, you got to admire that.
Yep.
I mean, the adversity that he's faced, everything we've seen in other presidencies and other political figures who've gone on through all kinds of trouble are pale in comparison to what he's been put through.
No,
maybe it's time for his enemies to stop it.
Not only that, but the energy that he has is truly amazing. He's the Energizer Bunny. Let's check in with Aisha Hazni. Speaking of the Energizer Bunny.
The press corps that have been following him around now for more than a year, the crowd went absolutely nuts when Fox News called it here, and people were hugging each other. They were high-fiving each other here, and people were hugging each other. They were high-fiving each other. That people were on FaceTiming. I think having to stand up for him, and then he went through the primary process. As Kellyanne Conway just said, he earned it state by state by state, and then came back to Washington in the spring and went to the RNC and claimed the nomination. This is the greatest comeback that I've ever witnessed personally myself. And so I look forward to seeing what he says to the country here tonight and to his supporters. Back to you.
Aisha, thank you. The Harris team is now texting to say Vice President Harris will speak tomorrow, and that will be her response to the election results. That's all we have from the Harris team, which is really strange. From a PR perspective, Dan?
No, I also just think it's a shame because I remember when John Kerry did this to George W. Bush in 2004, and you work so hard, and I know that they're disappointed, but you should concede and let your opponent have their election night, and let everybody that's there at Trump, at Mar-a-Lago, where are they? They're in Palm Beach.
They're in West Palm at the convention center.
At the convention center, let them have their moment without anyone. I remember Andy Card had to come in and say, well, yes, we know we won, but we have to wait until John Kerry concedes. And then we all had to traipse back in the next morning and wait, and you don't get that moment. I don't think it's right. And
that's not to say there's not going to be a phone call. There could be a phone call tonight, but she's not going to speak publicly.
If there's a phone call, they have to make it public. And then
yes, they
nobody
do.
needs to hear from her. So if I were her, I would do it. I mean, they had that whole setup.
In the corner and be quiet.
People were already there.
Everybody was there, and it does feel like you want to just collect the moment and do it the way the computers do.
They were holding out hope. They were holding out hope that the blue wall could somehow come together, but it's going to be a red wall.
90 minutes before that, they were told to go to bed.
To be a red wall.
I got that text.
About tsunami.
Before all of this, Jen O'Malley Dillon, the Harris campaign person, said everyone can go to bed and come back tomorrow. So
she didn't even address her own supporters. We want her to call President Trump. She didn't talk to the people who were assembled there for hours for her. It just seems very ungracious. By the way, it ended up being a very bad split screen. You probably couldn't see it here, but they're filing out, and he's expanding.
It's disrespectful, in my opinion.
They're all excited for him. Look, I think that Kamala Harris is a sign of the times.
For you, and you did
I
not.
think that Trump's a metaphor for the country. And when he says
was waiting
we
on
don't
the vote for her and they
surrender,
went and
fight,
voted
fight,
for her.
fight, we get back up.
That's
I just think
exactly what
he's, I think that's what it is. The other thing I just
Yeah,
want to say, maybe it's
that's
as a
backwards,
Catholic, maybe
man.
it's just as a Trump supporter, maybe it's just as a flawed human being. We all get second chances in this life. Rarely do we get a second chance as big as this one. And I have got to believe the man that I know and that Kayleigh worked with is going to work with a certain alacrity and energy to get things done very quickly. What he can do through executive order, what he could do with the Congress, bringing in the governors. Nobody gets a second chance this big in their lives. and just puts it on the shelf like it's a trophy or a gold star. He's going to use that as a platform for good and undo some of these bad policies, and I think do even better. You know, these celebrities, these athletes, he's got job creators and innovators.
Exactly. What a great night it is.
He's got people who make stuff, who people say, wow, there's an American success story, and he's going to bring them aboard.
So Vice President Harris has now encountered what is known as the Van Buren curse. It's the failure of the vice president to get to the presidency. Only two have done it, and that is Martin Van Buren in 1836 and George H.W. Bush in 1988. You know, the question is what the Republican Party looks like now. And Kayleigh, it's a multiracial party, to your point. It's working class, and maybe it's the future. I mean, it's Elon Musk. It is Joe Rogan and podcast. It is, you know, there's an opportunity here on both parties to realign and change.
There are going to be a lot of conversations that go on to that end. Who is the next standard bearer for President Trump? Is it J.D. Vance? Is he the one who picks up the torch after a 4-year legacy-defining term with the success that Kellyanne's describing? Is it J.D. Vance that picks it up? There's going to be a conversation about ground game. I mean, Kamala Harris over the weekend, they were saying they were knocking 1,000 doors a minute, and I have no reason to doubt that. It was an extraordinary ground game, but do ground games matter as much as podcasts, as much as real, authentic, viral moments like President Trump?
Oh, they're taking it down.
On the garbage
That's
truck?
good.
You know, President Trump at McDonald's, these viral moments that really captured the attention of the nation. And what does the Republican Party look like going forward? It's a broad coalition. It's an exciting coalition. And I think if President Trump manifests that working man agenda, no tax on tips, no, limit on credit card interest rate, that's a working man's economic agenda. And if he makes that happen in 4 years, this party may look like this for quite some time.
You know, I'm struck when you're talking about the authenticity part of this, because when I think about him with the French fries at McDonald's and standing up with blood on his face, fight, 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 you can't fabricate. No, consultant can create those moments, Trey. Those are organic and they are authentic. And I think that that is something that Kamala Harris fell really far short on in terms of the authenticity measure.
Yeah, if you had told me that a billionaire from New York would be able to connect with middle America, I would have questioned that. To my friend, the gentleman from Tennessee, autopsies are painful, especially when the patient's still alive. I wonder what the Democrat Party is going to go through in the next weeks and months, because this was a loss that I don't think anyone saw coming, not to this magnitude. So
right, exactly.
Like if you're a Democrat, it's painful, but you have to have one. How did you lose, and how did you lose this sound?
The easiest way to do it for them would be to simply say, if Joe Biden hadn't clung
Crazy
to the job, clung to the nomination, and hidden his condition with a lot of help.
The 33 bills she signed off on,
that was a nominating process and got a more attractive nominee.
But I don't
sounds about right.
Who've been freer to walk away from Biden policies and would have had a better shot. I mean, I think that's the easiest, simplest solution.
To start.
But I'm not sure that's where they'll go.
Man, for real.
I don't think you can pass over an African-American female, which is a very loyal constituency for the Democrat Party. I don't see how they could have passed over.
But if he'd left the office and she'd won,
I'm feeling I'm burned.
Process and would have had competition, and the whole thing would have been different.
But I mean, but Harold, you have a Democratic Party that's pretty old. I mean, you have Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden.
You got Andy Beshear, you got Josh Shapiro, you got Gretchen Whitmer.
That's a different kind of Democrat, and that is not the progressive Democrat that wins in a primary. So, is it going to be a change in your party?
Well, we nominated Bill Clinton and a Barack Obama who were not from the party. So I think we'll do that. Look, tonight, what happened this evening and what's happened over the last year has been described. There were those on this panel.
Celebrities going to go on meltdown.
This resurrection could have occurred.
Right.
So if this can happen,
we already had hers.
Things are possible in politics if you're willing to change and willing to have courage and determination. And whatever Democrats or anybody want to say about this guy who's been elected our president, he personifies that courage and determination and persistence. So I think Trey, you were asking a serious question, and Britt gave a very serious answer. I think that's going to be part of the answer. And we've got to look long and hard about whether or not the way we campaign sometimes with identity politics at the end, is that the right way to do it? But before you get there, you got to get a purpose and a message. And we'll get there. We've got a long history of figuring these things out as a nation, as a party, and we'll figure it out this time.
So the Carnage speech got a lot of attention at the inauguration. Do we think that this speech, we're actually
Tulsi
told
Gabbard
that the teleprompters have been removed from the stage, so we could be in for a long haul here. We don't know.
Yeah, my phone's going off.
What do you think?
They're saying Trump won, period.
But there may not be
I'm saying he goes off the teleprompter anyway, but he, the other night at the Al Smith dinner, he was upset that there were teleprompters, because he doesn't want to use them. So.
Right. So, Dana, what does this speech look like?
This one right now?
Yeah.
I think look, I don't know. He's one of the most unpredictable people too. So I think that's why we're all here. And I'm wide awake. I've been awake for almost 24 hours now. And I am curious to see. I think I wasn't just thinking about this speech. I'm thinking about the inauguration speech, which would be 8 years since Carnage speech. He has a wide range of the types of speeches that he can give. If you think even within a speech, there's range. If you think about the RNC convention, it started off with like, oh, wow, yeah. And then after a while, I was like, wow, he's still talking. And it was like so long, and it kind of got off script, and people thought, oh, he kind of lost opportunity. But he didn't. I think if you look at these people who would take off work, drive somewhere in the middle of the night to go and get in line, to wait for hours, to then stay at a rally for hours. And part of the things he has done as well is created this camaraderie amongst people so that you could go to a place where you're not afraid to wear your red MAGA hat, and you could say, I'm not the crazy one. I'm not the only one who thinks the way that I do. I can actually have friends. And that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be outreach to the other side. I believe in love thy neighbor. I love all of that. But he has created something special here. So I kind of want him to take a victory lap tonight. I don't think this is necessarily the moment for unity, especially when she won't even concede and give him the night to celebrate.
Kellyanne, you were looking at the popular vote. He's still up and could finish up.
And part of it is because he did run up the totals in places I was looking at, even the rural counties in Pennsylvania. He was going to win them by significant double digits, but he won them that much more. I think running up the totals in Florida, which was a swing state not that long ago, over 1.1 million votes or so. Haley, right, your home state. And this is, look, I think that when the Democrats take a look at this candidacy, it's not going to be, did she have too much time, not enough time? She's just a flawed candidate. She doesn't speak well. She doesn't work hard. I'm not being mean or partisan. I don't know why the country would have rewarded this candidate with the big job when she couldn't make the case what she does as vice president that affects our lives in a positive way. She was given that opportunity. I personally like to thank the women of The View tonight. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oprah, we see you. And so on and so forth.
Ooh.
People who thought they were doing her a favor because they made her something she's not. It's the opposite for Trump.
Ouch.
They make him something he's not. Take that one word, take that one line, take that cherry pick this, that, the other. You never get the essence. I go back, does everybody remember 5 years ago, so Laurel and Yanny, or what color dress? You hear Laurel, I hear Yanny. You see a blue dress, I see a yellow dress. We were all looking at the same thing. That's the way Donald Trump is in this country. There are people who look exactly the same person, and they see two different vistas. I think it's time that we try to see one. Look, I don't know who said it earlier. I'm a little worried about the reaction of the Democrats and the Kamala people here. I'm very worried. I think that there are a lot of unhinged people across the political spectrum.
She ain't never
lying. Now I'm about to
quarter to how many anti-Kamala voters are out there. I don't want to hear the words racism and sexism. It's eyesight and hearing. We were listening and watching her. And I'm very worried that we've not talked a lot about how violent people may be and angry because she lost. Right. I'm afraid of that.
Right. I mean, I can just imagine thinking about The View. And a week or so ago, they were saying, what is wrong with someone who would vote for him?
Michelle Obama said.
And Joe Scarborough saying, we weren't raised like this. Who raised these people? So I can only imagine what tomorrow is going to look like.
Yeah. I will say when we talk about
Hughley,
what comes to
I
mind
like
is
that.
we mentioned the carnage that President Trump gave at his inauguration. And my mind automatically went to the unity speech that Biden gave, and he mentioned unity a half dozen times. But when you think about what we got over 4 years, there was the garbage comment that didn't come in isolation. There were all kinds of comments. Neanderthal was one of the first words he used to describe those who opposed his COVID edicts. The Mark Cuban comment, he was an official surrogate of the Kamala campaign. And for, as mean as some of President Donald Trump's tweets have been, and people have problems with it, one thing I've challenged Democrats to find is one example of him disparaging the country, half of the country, and that's something he has not done. And so I expect you'll hear a unifying tone, and I expect you're going to see a very successful presidency, and one untethered maybe from some of the things that were holding him back. What comes to mind is an Oval Office meeting that we had where Dr. Fauci was urging him not to open the country. And I watched President Trump fight vociferously, saying people are losing their jobs. We must open the country. He wanted to do it sooner than he did. I think a Donald Trump who goes with his instincts is going to be a Trump that ultimately leads a very successful country in second term.
Folks need to blame Kamala for her loss.
Joe Biden mentioned the word unity more in his inaugural address than any president, I think, except one. If he's serious about that, he'll pardon Donald Trump. He'll also pardon his son. And then he'll put pressure on Georgia and New York to end this lawfare. If there is any silver lining tonight, it is that lawfare actually helps the person that you are trying to go after. We need a justice system. The lady needs to wear a blindfold for a reason. We got to stop this prosecution.
And like Fannie Willis won, the prosecutor election down in Atlanta. She should not be in office at all.
John Ratcliffe.
No, she shouldn't.
Sorry, John. I apologize. Sorry.
There will be a lot of talk about cabinet members, Treasury Secretary, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense. You've got Tom Cotton, Mike Pompeo.
Well, you also have a Republican bench. And sometimes, like you were saying, that the Democratic Party is quite old right now. There's not a great bench, although there are some, and especially, but when you take governors out of states, then you leave a hole, and then you have to build up that bench back up. But the Republican bench is pretty strong right now.
There you see Doug Burgum and Vivek Ramaswamy, Steve Wynn, his lovely wife Andrea. So people are there waiting for the former president. Britt would like to know where he is.
He's watching us.
Can we say tonight, though, Harold, that the melting pot still works? That Hispanics, Black Americans, working class Americans,
they believe a man
standing up, asking what their government is going to do, asking their government to see them and their concerns, that it works, that this is American democracy in our republic.
The process works. I think as we get a final
you can't say both
of the
democracy
numbers
and republic.
The coalition that President Trump won with this time, I think it will be one that will be for the history books. President Bush, I think, got 40+% of the Hispanic vote. George Bush, W. Bush, and it looks like President, at least the preliminary numbers suggest that. But as much as we talk about the unconventional aspect of this was conventional also. People believed him. He resonated with voters. He resonated with communities, rural communities, urban communities, suburban communities across the country. And I congratulate him tonight. I didn't want him to win, but I congratulate him on his victory and wish him the best for my country. And I can only hope that the concerns that are articulated by my dear friend Kellyanne, that they're not realized. I hope that my party and my friends, and for that matter, Republicans alike, that we're all able, once we get past the moment here, the 24 hours of excitement and joy and celebration, to understand that what we're really celebrating is the greatest experiment to have ever come to existence. He'll celebrate 250 years of its own existence in 2026. So those are my thoughts, Brett.
I'm struck by the issue of abortion, because it was talked about so much, and it was presented as if you're a woman and you are not going to support her, then you hate all women. They said that husbands, were hateful towards their wives and the women in their lives if they didn't support this candidate. And I think it just goes to show that
that's
kind
not true.
of manipulating, it doesn't win.
And narrow casting us based on our gender. I think Kamala Harris was talking to us from the waist down. And I think Donald Trump was talking to us from the waist up as well. That's where my eyes, my ears, my heart, my brain, and my big mouth are. So, I mean, you got to talk to the woman in full. It's as if she doesn't know anything about the economy, or she doesn't care about what's going on in Ukraine or Israel or with Iran, or can't do the math on her grocery bill. It's an insult. Of course people care, but we care about many things. Just as we are not monolithic in life, we're not monolithic thinkers politically. But, you know, Martha, something else happened. They put these ballot initiatives on to try to gin up turnout for the Democrat. And they did that, and it kind of backfired. Look at this popular vote. And it
did backfire.
The other thing is, if you've got 10 abortion ballot initiatives, you can vote your conscience on abortion, and you can vote separately or similarly for president. The presidential race was not a proxy for your position on abortion. By the way, somebody sent me the statistics. Over $500 million spent on ads about abortion. $500 million in this country out of the $16 billion.
No, wasted all that money.
$37 million for pro-lifers. The rest was the pro-choicers. I mean, it's just insane amount of money.
So we've spent a lot of time talking about markets tonight and with the betting markets. Trey, at this point, it's at about 66% that Republicans hold on to the House as they're ticking down the possibilities, and they look at these coattails with not only the popular vote, but what could be and is shaping up to be an electoral college landslide. Should he control the White House, the Senate, and the House, like he did at the beginning of 2016, the possibilities open to a lot of things.
Yeah, I was there in 2016, and we had everything but an agenda. That mistake will not be made this time. He will deal with the border. He will deal with tax is coming up. There is a plan being formulated by Mike Johnson right now, and John Thune or John Cornyn or whoever becomes the majority leader. The mistakes of 2016, I think we were surprised that he won. I'm not saying he was surprised, but others were surprised. The other thing I would remind you, Brett, when he won in 2016, do you recall what he said about Hillary Clinton? She's been through enough. There was a lot of pressure to prosecute her. He said she's been through enough. I wish my Democrat friends would say the same thing about him and say enough is enough. Drop the cases in New York and Georgia. Biden shouldn't wait on Donald Trump to end these federal cases. They should be ended by Joe Biden. If you really want unity, then quit using lawfare to divide the country. Quit using the justice system to try to...
They don't. They want war.
We are still following these Senate races, and as we wait for the former president,
one problem.
There's Nigel Farage there talking in the crowd there. Britt, this is remarkable in that some of these races were not even suspected to be close, expected to be close. Mike Rogers, he was a long shot at one point against Alyssa Slotkin.
Good candidate.
In Michigan, good candidate.
Strong candidate.
Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. But Sam Brown was left essentially. He was not going to win.
He was not on anybody's list.
Nope.
Likely switch.
Not getting much money or attention.
No, I think he's a competent candidate. Once again, we have.
By the way, there's Sam Brown right there, 48.1 to 47.2, 80% in over Jackie Rosen.
How much? It renews our understanding that candidate quality matters.
Yep.
In this cycle, Republicans in the Senate races in particular fielded some pretty darn good candidates that gave them a shot in states where Republicans often face an uphill battle. And the fact that, it looks like won't be just a squeaker. There might be a little margin there for Republicans in the Senate is testament to that.
Let's see what Wisconsin is, guys. Can we put up Hovde in Wisconsin?
Standing. Ladies and gentlemen,
here we go.
Welcome President-elect Donald J. Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and the Trump family, accompanied by Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, Second Lady Usha Vance, along with friends and campaign staff. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right
Powering over his
next to you.
Man, this son is tall.
He's towering over everybody.
God bless the USA.
Is that Dana White on the stage too?
Exactly.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you very much. Wow.
There you go. That's it.
These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond.
Ooh.
And now it's
Very
going
true.
to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And
what's up?
we made history
Yes, sir.
for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved them. It is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
Right.
Exactly.
And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you.
That's right. It's fire.
With every breath in my body. I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have.
Yes, sir.
This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again.
Yes.
And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But that, but it's much easier doing what the networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Very proud.
I mean, he got 267 right now. Girl.
Thank you.
Somebody's calling something.
Thank you very much. Winning the popular vote was very nice. Very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love in this very large room with unbelievable people standing by my side. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. I hope that you're going to be looking back someday and say that was one of the truly important moments of my life when I voted for this group of people beyond the president, this group of great people. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's good. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much.
Right? They promoted him more than himself.
In those cases, every one of them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races. And I mean, the number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And we did tele-rallies. We did tele-rallies with each one of them. And sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. And it also looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives.
We got everything. We got him, we got the House, and we got the Senate. We just good.
And the courts.
And I want to thank Mike Johnson. I think he's doing a terrific job. Terrific job.
Mm-hmm.
I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, First Lady. Who has the #1 best-selling book in the country. Can you believe that? Oh, no, she's done a great job. Works very hard to help people. So I just want to thank her. But I want to thank my whole family, my amazing children, and they are amazing children. Now, we all think our children are amazing. Everybody here thinks their children are amazing, but that's a good thing when you think they are. But Don, Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, Barron, Laura, Jared, Kimberly, Michael, thank you all. What a help. My father-in-law, Victor, is tremendous, and we miss very much Melania's mother, Amalia. We miss Amalia, don't we, huh? She would be very happy right now, standing on this stage. She'd be so proud. She was a great woman, that one. Beautiful inside and out. She was a great woman. I want to be the first to congratulate our great, now I can say, Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance. And his absolutely remarkable and beautiful wife, Usha Vance. And he is a feisty guy, isn't he? You know, I've said, go into the enemy camp. And you know, the enemy camp is certain networks. And a lot of people don't like this. Sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay. Which one? CNN, MSDNC? They say, All right, thank you very much. He actually looks like he's still like the only guy I've ever seen. He really looks forward to it, and then he just goes in and absolutely obliterates.
Man, he does. He destroys him.
He do. He destroyed him.
Say a couple of words.
Wild. Well, Mr. President, I appreciate you allowing me to join you on this incredible journey. I thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America.
True story.
And under President Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the greatest economic comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Well, we can do it. We have a House in the Senate.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Thank you very much. He's turned out to be a good choice. I took a little heat at the beginning, but he was. I knew the brain was a good one, about as good as it gets. And we love the family, and we're going to have a great 4 years, and we're going to turn our country around, make it something very special. It lost that little thing called special. We have to make it so. We're going to make this so great. It's the greatest country and potentially the greatest country in the world by far. And right now we're going to just work very hard to get all of that back. We're going to make it the best it's ever been. We can do that. If we had to wait longer, I don't know. It was going bad, and it was going bad fast. We're going to have to seal up those borders, and we're going to have to let people come into our country. Mm-hmm. We want people to come back in, but we have to let them come back in, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris, the job you did. Susie, come here. Come here, Susie. Chris, come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The Ice Maiden. We call her the Ice Maiden. Chris, come here, Chris. Susie likes to stay in the background. She's not in the background.
This wasn't expected, but I just want to thank, obviously, President Trump for this journey. It was a great one, and he's a hell of a candidate. He's going to be a hell of a great 47th president. And this team that we had, the best team, and, of course, even my boss, Susie Wiles, the best. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Susie. Look at her. She's shot. I've never seen her be shot before. Susie. They're great. Everybody up here is great. Everybody up here is very special. But the Trump, who did you say? Oh, let me tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. Now he is. Now he's an amazing guy. We were sitting together tonight. You know, he spent 2 weeks in Philadelphia and different parts of Pennsylvania campaigning. You know, he sent the rocket up 2 weeks ago, and I saw that rocket, and I saw it coming down. I saw it. It was, when it left, it was beautiful, shiny white. When it came down, it didn't look so pretty. It was going 10,000 miles an hour, and it was burning like hell. I said, what happened to your paint job? He said, we've never made a paint that could withstand that kind of heat. And but I saw it come down and turn around. And it was, you know, it's like 22 stories tall, by the way. It looks a little smaller than that, but it's big. And it came down, and you saw that fire burning. And I'm saying, only Elon can do this. It must be an Elon. And I tell the story. I told it last night. I had a man on the phone. I had the screen muted, no sound. I was talking to a very important man, happens to be here. and that very important guy, one of the most important people in, I would say, the country, actually. But, you know, I was president, and now it looks like I was going to be maybe president again, so I figured I could ask him to hold. So I asked him to hold, and especially because you're going to be president again, they hold. So I took the phone down, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing this crazy thing that's going around and coming down. It looks like it's going to crash into the gantry. And I said, oh, no. And I said, do me a favor. Do you mind holding for a couple of minutes? I want to see this. I thought it was a space age movie or something. I put the phone down. Bad part, I didn't pick it up for 45 minutes, and he was holding. But this spaceship came down, and I saw those engines firing, and it looked like it was over. It was going to smash. And then I saw the fire pour out from the left side, and it put it straight. And it came down so gently, and then it wrapped those arms around it, and it held it. And just like you hold your baby at night, your little baby. And it was a beautiful thing to see. And I called Elon. I said, Elon, was that you? He said, yes, it was. I said, who else can do that? Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the United States do it other than you? No. Nobody can do that. I said, that's why I love you, Elon. That's great. And you know, when we had the tragic Hurricane Helene, and it hit North Carolina, they were really devastated. The water, this was a big water, as big as we've ever seen, water hurricane. It built lakes out of nothing. Fields became lakes, and the danger was unbelievable. And the people from North Carolina came to me and they said, would it be possible, at all possible, for you to speak to Elon Musk? We need Starlink. I said, what's Starlink? It's a form of communication. So I called Elon, and I'll tell you what, he had, and it was very dangerous. People would die. They had no communication. All the wires were down. I called Elon Musk. I said, Elon, you have something called Starlink. Is that right? Yes, I do. What the hell is it? He said, it's a communication system that's very good. I said, Elon, they need it really, really badly in North Carolina. Can you get it? He had that there so fast. It was incredible. So, and it was great. It saved a lot of lives. He saved a lot of lives. But he's a character. He's a special guy. He's a super genius. We have to protect our geniuses. We don't have that many of them. Damn. We have to protect our super geniuses. I want to thank some of the guys. You know, we have up here today the U.S. Open champion. He's a fantastic golfer. He's slightly longer than me. It's a ball a little bit longer than me. Just a little bit. Bryson DeChambeau is up here someplace. What happened to Bryson? Where is he? Bryson. Oh, he was shot. He's hitting balls. Oh, he's on the way. He's hitting balls. Bryson. Oh, look at him. He's got a great career going. Great U.S. Open, Bryson. That's a fantastic job. And we also have a man, Dana White, who has done some job. He's a tough guy. So Dana started UFC and came to me. Do you mind if I use your? Nobody wanted to give him a rinse because they said it's a rough sport, a little rough. And I helped them out a little bit, and I went, and they said, this is the roughest sport I've ever seen, but I began to like it, and he loved it, and nobody's done a better job in sports. And you know, he's a very motivational kind of a guy, what he does. He gets these fighters, and they really go at it, and it's become one of the most successful sports enterprises anywhere at any time. It's doing so well. I'd like to ask Dana just to say a couple of words because people love to hear from him. Dana, please.
Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hardworking man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family.
Absolutely.
I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelk Boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bustin' with the Boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan. And thank you, America. Thank you. Have a good night.
That is a piece of work. Now he's really an amazing guy. But most of all, I want to thank the millions of hardworking Americans across the nation who have always been the heart and soul of this really great movement. We've been through so much together, and today you showed up in record numbers to deliver a victory like really, I probably like no other. This was something special, and we're gonna pay you back. We're gonna do the best job. We're gonna turn it around. It's got to be turned around. It's got to be turned around fast, and we're gonna turn it around. We're gonna do it in every way, with so many ways, but we're gonna do it in every way. This will forever be remembered as the day the American people regained control of their country. So I just want to say that on behalf of this great group of people, these are hardworking people. These are fantastic people. And we can add a few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He came in. And he's going to help make America healthy again. And now he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but Bobby, leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. Bobby, stay away from the liquid gold. Other than that, go have a good time, Bobby. We're going to be paying down debt. We're going to be reducing taxes. We can do things that nobody else can do. Nobody else is going to be able to do it. China doesn't have what we have. Nobody has what we have. But we have the greatest people also. Maybe that's the most important thing. This campaign has been so historic in so many ways. We've built the biggest, the broadest, the most unified coalition. They've never seen anything like it in all of American history. They've never seen it. Young and old, men and women, rural and urban. And we had them all helping us tonight. When you think, I mean, I was looking at it, I was watching it. They had some great analysis of the people that voted for us. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. They came from all corners, union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American, Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have security. We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally, we don't have to use it. You know, we had no wars. 4 years, we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time, but we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
Right.
But this is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom. Together, we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny, and we're going to achieve the most incredible future for our people. Yesterday, as I stood at my last stop on the campaign trail, I'll never be doing a rally again. Can you believe it? I think we've done 900 rallies approximately.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
That's a lot.
900.
How many rallies did you do?
901 something, a lot of rallies. And it was sad. Everybody was sad. Many people, I said, this is our last rally. But now we're going on to something that's far more important, because the rallies were used for us to be put in this position where we can really help our country. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make our country better than it ever has been. I said that many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason.
You better thank him right now.
Better thank him.
And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission. The task before us will not be easy, but I will bring every ounce of energy, spirit, and fight that I have in my soul to the job that you've entrusted to me. This is a great job. There's no job like this. This is the most important job in the world. Just as I did in my first term, we had a great first term, a great, great first term. I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous, powerful, and free again. And I'm asking every citizen all across our land to join me in this noble and righteous endeavor. That's what it is. It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try. We're going to try. We have to try. And it's going to happen. Success will bring us together. I've seen that. I've seen that. I saw that in the first term.
Say again.
It became more and more successful.
No, I was.
People started coming together. Success is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it.
What's going on?
Together, we can truly make America great again for all Americans. So I want to just tell you what a great honor this is. I want to thank you. I will not let you down. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than it has ever been before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. God bless America, definitely.
Bringing balance to the force once again. Of sorts.
His little dance.
I know he does.
Right. You're gonna do nothing stupid overnight.
No.
We're gonna have the whole America for Norm. Alright, well, thanks all for joining us for the live.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on your live.
Way too late for you.
Yeah.
Thanks for staying up.
No problem. Good night from over here in Jersey, everybody. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Good night.